KWT slaying.
What if the truth was never lost, only buried? For centuries, historians, scholars, and even colonial records have confirmed what many tried to silence. The original Israelites were a black people scattered across continents but never erased. Their skin was dark, their customs ancient, and their covenant with Yah eternal. This journey uncovers how the Spanish and Portuguese Jews, described as dark-skinned, Semitic, shared one bloodline. Chased by the Inquisition, many fled to Portugal, then beyond, preserving their heritage across borders. But the story doesn't end in Iberia. Across from West Africa, black Jews built synagogues, kept Torah, and passed down the laws of Moses. The Limba in southern Africa, the Igbo in Nigeria, the Beta Israel in Ethiopia, tribes across the continent boldly declared, "We are the children of Israel." These aren't isolated claims. These are voices rising from the dust, connected by oral histories, Torah traditions, and the unbroken rhythm of their identity. No such legacy exists among European Jews. No centuries of tribal witness, no matching traditions, no trace of ancient covenant keeping. Maps, art, and archaeology tell the same story. The Israelites were scattered, enslaved, and displaced, but never lost. The world always knew who they were. Their presence was visible, their customs alive, their story intact. This book doesn't speculate. It confirms the Israelites were black, bound by blood, culture, and covenant to the Most High. This is not just history, it's restoration. The truth was never destroyed, only buried beneath centuries of deception. Get your copy of They Always Knew We Were Israelites today, available now on Amazon.com.
Salam, my family. Salam, how y'all doing today? Hope you're blessed and highly favored. Minister Tell you say hi to family.
Salam, my family. Peace and blessings.
So, family, we want to talk about what we listened to today. And shout out to Sister Shonda of Shonda at Large, for talking about the great divide. Can we reconcile? She had that today. And, Minister Tell you and I was like, y'all gonna have to hear. We gonna get to it. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the link out there after we show this video, and we're gonna comment on it, and then you all could come and give your input on this. I mean, look, I guess the question is, can we reconcile? That's the question, because everybody has a different agenda, and that's what I noticed. Right? Everybody's not on the same page with everything. So let's look at this.
Literally every day. I got multiple illegal aliens deported myself.
All right, let's do this right here.
We're not seeing writing on the wall. Like Trump, for example, we know that he's in office right now. He just got finished saying that he was thinking about ending Rosie O'Donnell's citizenship. Now, we know she's definitely not one of us, but she is an American citizen. She it has been in America. Her bones have been in America for so long, but because he has a personal problem with her, said, I'm thinking about ending her citizenship. And we see everything that's happening with the migrants. And there are people that I know personally that are impacted, Caribbean migrants that have to leave the U.S. territories because of this immigration situation, because of ICE. Do we not see the handwriting on the wall that it's a good possibility that Black Americans who consider themselves foundational Black Americans will be on that list to be booted out? And I want to hear your perspective, Pan Mulattoism, on that particular topic.
Yes, ma'am. And I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you called on me. Actually, Mr. Shonda, even you say you have Caribbean ancestry, but if you went to any Caribbean nation illegally, you would be deported. So I definitely support all of the illegal aliens being mass deported. In fact, I even report illegal aliens to ICE literally every day. I got multiple illegal aliens deported myself. And to draw back to one of the points that two things. Number one, at least the African man admitted that if a nation enslaved his family, he would not forgive them. That's all we are saying as descendants of U.S. chattel slaves. You were complicit in the enslavement of my ancestors. I don't forgive you, white man. I don't forgive you, African. And that's a logical stance to take. And in closing, to the Caribbean sister on the panel, she spoke about when Caribbeans come into the U.S., they feel a cultural affinity towards other Caribbeans. So that's why they seclude themselves amongst themselves. My point is, you all can do that in the Caribbean. That's why I call ICE on Caribbeans. And I'll say that in closing.
Pan Mulattoism, thank you so much for your perspective. Listen, y'all, I know this might be difficult for some of y'all to hear some of the things that he's saying, right? Because y'all like, I can't believe he's talking like this. Listen, this is a reality that many who are FBA feel when it comes to those who are from other parts of the diaspora. And I think it's rooted in the disrespect and the disregard when those who are from the diaspora come to America because they've listened to the European colonizers tell them, leave Black Americans alone. They're nothing but thugs and they're nothing but baby mamas and they're criminals and all of those things. So we need to understand that there is a real frustration when it comes to FBAs concerning those who come from diaspora and the continent. Now, with that said, do I agree with them? Absolutely not. I don't, because I agree with somebody who said the point that nobody's an immigrant on stolen land, right? I don't believe that the European colonizers should have a right to put anybody out of the land when they are not supposed to be in that land themselves. They didn't discover nothing. Okay?
But the Caribbean is stolen land. You can't go there illegally. They'll put you out.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you that you have to respect people's laws. But what I'm saying to you is that these European settlers came in and they didn't respect the indigenous people that were there. They gave them beads for land. They had their language in their contracts and they knew that they didn't understand their language. And then they persecuted them, they slaughtered them, and then they say, hey, let's celebrate Thanksgiving unto our God because we got this land. But now these are the same people calling other people immigrants. We know.
No, I agree with you. The immigrants are also colonists too, though. I agree with you when you say that about the white man, but that same logic applies to the immigrants. They are also encroaching on Native American lands. And I have Native American ancestry. That's why I take a strong stance against immigration.
Do you call ICE on the Europeans?
Definitely.
That are
definitely.
How do you make a distinction?
And I'm glad you asked. Literally, if I encounter a person, it depends on how I feel that day. If I see you and you got an accent, I'm calling ICE. If I see you don't speak English, I'm calling ICE. If I see you congregated around other people that look like illegal aliens, I'm calling ICE. So it's up to my discretion, just like it is up to every U.S. citizen's discretion when you want to call ICE. Let ICE figure out if they're here legally.
So when you say if they have an accent, right? Because I have been around a lot of people from America, and you got New Yorkers that have one accent and you got Southerners that have another accent. You have people in America that have different accents. So how do you delineate?
Yes, I'm speaking about a foreign accent. Okay. If you have a foreign accent, hey, you on the table. Really, literally.
Okay. All right. Well,
yeah, I'm calling ICE on you.
You have the right to do that. I don't think that it's very helpful to our
Well, can I tell you how many? Can I tell you how many illegal aliens I got deported? And you have to understand, every illegal alien that gets deported, that frees up a housing opportunity and job opportunities for descendants of U.S. chattel slaves that are homeless and or unemployed. So it makes a big difference, really.
But do you really think that when you are addressing this situation, like they're immigrants, I'm going to call ICE on them? Do you not think that ICE can eventually be called on you?
Well, I'm a U.S. citizen, so even if you do call ICE on me, literally, I have a U.S. birth
So is
certificate.
Rosie O'Donnell. So is Rosie O'Donnell.
And Rosie, and I wanted to address that as well. Rosie O'Donnell has not been stripped of her U.S. citizenship. That was Trump just talking. Now, if it comes a time where descendants of U.S. chattel slaves, first of all, the 14th Amendment was created to grant descendants of U.S. chattel slaves immigration in the U.S. So I don't see that ever being reversed. But if it is, do you understand you'll see a second civil war? We're not going to tolerate it. Really, this is our homeland.
You'll see a second civil war for sure. But the problem is that because Black Americans are still in the low percentage of being able to actually defend themselves with no actual army, you have to be able to have a lot of ammo. But the other issue with that,
do you remember the first Civil War though? We got our way in the first Civil War.
I hear you there, but the other issue,
we fought our way off slave plantations. But go ahead, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, it's okay. The other issue with that, we have to consider pan-mulattoism, is that we're not dealing with ammo the way we used to deal with ammo. You're dealing with AI robots now. You're dealing with all kinds of technology that we in the community
that we have access to it. You know how many descendants of U.S. chattel slaves are in the U.S. government, in the U.S. military, and work for a lot of these AI companies? We have access to that same technology. Don't underestimate the strength of your people. There's a reason why we have not been mass deported before. Don't you think? Don't you know that the white man, if he could have mass deported us, he would have did it hundreds of years ago. He definitely would have did it in the 60s. I mean, let's be for real. You think the white man didn't think of mass deporting us before? The thing is that he cannot. That's a fact. He cannot mass deport us. We're not the Haitians. We're not Mexicans. We're not Venezuelans. We are descendants of U.S. chattel slaves. We stand up and fight for what's ours. We never flee. We never run away.
Yeah, and I would definitely agree with you on that. Black Americans fight for what is ours. And I don't say theirs, I say ours, because again, I am Black American as well. You and I have disagreements when it comes to how I see my brothers and sisters around the world. But in terms of lineage, my bones trace to Black America through my father, not through my mother. So I'm definitely rooted in America. However, when I think about the reality that America as a nation has never been for us, they've always been hostile. And we are, to me, in my position, prisoners of war. I'm not necessarily trying to fight for the prison cell. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, it's not about that. But don't you understand that with the immigrants here, we are fighting multiple opponents? Don't you realize that? We're not, before in our parents' generation, our grandparents' generation, they literally had one enemy to focus on, which was the Caucasian. Now, we got the Arabians, we got the Chinese, we got the Mexicans, we got the Venezuelans, we got the Caribbeans that don't like us, we got the Africans, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So no, we got to clear the board and focus on one opponent at a time, literally. So I support all of these illegal aliens getting out the paint, mass deporting. As a matter of fact, let me say this to all the descendants of U.S. chattel slaves listening. If you see something suspicious, report them to ICE. Just like these immigrants that call the police on you, call ICE on them. Get them out the paint, really. If you don't call ICE, you're part of the problem.
Well, I think your position is definitely one in which you have a right to, and I'm not against you being able to express that right. I definitely disagree, not in terms of like the whole thing with the immigrants who disrespect our people being able to just have access to the things that our people have historically worked for. But again, my larger issue, aside from the immigrant situation, is that I feel very much that we are on the precipice of seeing our people who have their bones buried in America being next on the docket. Like somebody said, when you're playing pool, you always say the black ball for last. And so that's my position, is that while you're calling ICE, somebody going to be calling ICE on you. Because
but how can you say we last when we was first on a chopping block? How can you say we going to be last?
What I'm saying is that the goal is, from this administration, from what I can see, the goal of this administration is to make America white again, not make America great again. They're trying to do everything that they can to criminalize our people. And if we're too comfortable and we're too secure in America and looking at America as though it's a protector of Black bodies, then we're not really looking at the historicity of America. America has always moved the goalposts when it comes to Black bodies. And so now all of a sudden we say, oh, they're not going to move the goalposts because I've got a driver's license and I got a birth certificate in Texas. Like, no, they've always moved the goalposts. They use us as guinea pigs. They treat us terribly. They don't care about us, but yet somehow I'm supposed to fight for the land that supposedly cares about me and is going to prosper me, when we know economically we're 2.6% of the nation's wealth. So how and why would I fight for a nation that does not want to award me for my hard work instead of going to the continent and building up a nation that would reward me for my hard work, and I wouldn't be struggling and trying to prove my Blackness on a nation full of Black people?
But I think you misunderstand me, Ashonda. I'm saying fight for your communities, fight for your territory right here in the U.S. Additionally, and you did not address this point, and I don't want to speed past it. Don't you realize that these same immigrants that the white man actually allowed into the U.S., let's not forget that the white man allowed them into the U.S., the majority of them voted for Trump. The same man that you claim is
for sure.
All right. So you have to acknowledge they are problematic, and it's best that they get out the paint, that they get out of the country.
Man, listen, those particularly who are white leaning, right? Like they want to have the closest proximity. I understand your position, but I guess I'm not talking about them immigrants. I'm talking about the ones that come from our blood. I'm talking about those who are phenotypically us, those who are by bloodline us. I don't see them as the same folk. And I guess that's the thing is you're like
you say blood.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm saying you're looking at immigrants and you're just boxing them all into one circle and not delineating between the European immigrants and those who are of our descent. To me, I don't think that's right. I feel like we are supposed to be able to learn how to love one another and to forgive each other and advocate for one another. I'm not going to advocate for those people who want to be white proximity, but I'm talking about if my Jamaican brother or my Trinidadian sister has never harmed me, but I'm going to be calling ICE on them. I don't think that's right.
No, but Shonda, and that's once again, that's why I like to reduce my comments to less than 1 sentence. To less than 60 seconds, because I want you to understand what I'm saying. Literally, what I'm saying is these same immigrants, first of all, the African ones, are the descendants of the slave traders that sold your ancestors to the white man in the first place. They have no commonality with us. They have no unity with us. In fact, they have an equal amount of commonality with us that they have, I would say that they have more of a commonality and camaraderie with the white man. That is their co-conspirator, literally. And as far as the Jamaicans and Caribbeans, etc., you already admitted, if you go to their country illegally, you'll be subjected to deportation. So if they come to the U.S. illegally, they got to go, literally. Don't you realize that as a total number of immigrants increases in the U.S., the total number of majority Black American communities, cities, towns, counties, and municipalities and congressional districts is decreasing? So if it's them or us, I'm going to always choose us every time. And that goes for any ethnic group. If it's us versus the white man, I'm choosing us every time. If it's us versus Caribbeans, I'm choosing us every time. If it's us versus Asian, Africans, Arabians, I'm choosing us every time. And that's how FBA and ADOS is feeling right now. We on our own time. We're not looking for no camaraderie. It has never benefited us.
Well, I definitely appreciate your perspective. And again, this is why this discussion is taking place right now, because we need to be able to dialogue and have honest discourse about how we each feel. So I don't want you to walk away feeling like, you're being bullied or jumped on for your position, because like I said, I understand the frustration. I grew up in America. I understand the frustration. I just separate and segment the European colonizers. And not all Europeans have colonialist ways, but they're not of my blood. So I separate them from those who are of my blood. And I say, you know what? We can sit down and we can talk about this, because we're all under the system of colonialism, just in different lands. So let's sit down and discuss. I want to give somebody else a chance to jump in.
Well, one last thing. I'm sorry. Please, one last thing.
Absolutely, sister. Brother.
Well, one last thing. Sister, the white man is also
hogging the floor, brother.
I'm going to pass the mic to you after I say this.
Other
all right, brother.
Have opinions and thoughts.
All right, let me say one sentence. I'll pass the mic. Brother, let's not
dialogue between you and the sister.
I'm going to say one comment.
To speak.
I'm gonna pass the
Give
mic
me
to you
other-
after this. One sentence, brother.
Wait,
One
no,
sentence.
no,
Have
no.
some
There
decorum.
is no. Wait. You
Brother.
talking.
Ashonda, don't you realize that the white man shed your blood too? You have
You've
to
been
acknowledge that,
talking too
Ashonda. The white
long.
man has
It's
your
time
blood
for you
too.
to be quiet and allow others to speak.
Brother, do you want attention from her?
You're not the only
She's
one
married.
that has an opinion.
All
So
right,
be
so
quiet,
sis.
young man.
Okay, guys. All right. Thank you so
Be
much.
quiet.
Thank y'all both so much.
Yeah, please, let's keep it respectful. And I'm gonna drop down. Please, let me just say this before I drop down. Ashonda, the white man sheds blood with you too. That don't make him your family. Look at the Africans the same way. Peace, sis. Thanks for having me up.
I understand that. Thank you so much for coming on, Brother Don P. Thank you very much.
All right. I'm gonna let Minister tell you hit this one first before I say a word.
All right. Shout out to my sister Shonda. All right, my sister, you hung in there. You dealt with him professionally. Kudos. My ears are bleeding listening to that ninja. I'm serious. Oh my goodness. And then this ninja, let me stop. Did he say he part Native American, won't admit that he part African, like he's, but then he want to claim being one of us, but he not acknowledging his African side, but he acknowledges his Indian side, and somehow he's American and Africa don't matter, while at the same time blaming Africans for colonizing us, stealing us, and sending us to the continent. Nigga, please. This dude, peer agent. That's what he is, all right? Just like Tariq Nasheed, the rest of them guys trying to sow division when our bloodline is Africa. Our people are African. Now, did some of us sell each other? Yeah. Look, the dude don't know history. That's his problem, part of it. Well, no, he's an agent. He's COINTELPRO, period. But assuming he don't know history. Right? You got the Ashanti. Ashanti sold people, but guess what? The majority of people that were sent to Jamaica are Ashanti. The rest were Igbo. Guess what? Igbo sold Ashanti. Ashanti sold Igbo and other groups, other Israelite groups. We sold each other, nigga. I'm sorry, people. This is my hot spot.
Wait a minute. Is that meant to tell you, or is that your cover? I'm sorry. Look, we sold each other. The history proves it. Okay, that was part of the curses. Now the problem is these guys. If in the beginning, Sister Shonda asked him if he read the Bible, he barely said he acknowledged the Bible. So clearly, that's not part of his understanding, right? So he doesn't give no credence to the Bible where we do. We acknowledge what has happened to us. We know why. All right. He's not looking at the history and understanding how this all happened. Look, certain tribes benefited from selling other tribes, but that didn't prevent their people from being sold as well. So, you can't paint the whole continent as African and say, disregard all Africans because they sold us, right? You can't do that when many of us, our ancestry come from the same people who sold other groups, right? So it's understanding the history makes a difference. Then you'll realize our people didn't really sell each other knowing that we were going into chattel slavery. They sold their enemy on the battlefield, took them, kidnapped them, not kidnapped them, but as prizes from war, sold them to the white man, not realizing what chattel slavery even is, not understanding how brutal it was. They didn't know that. They try to use that against our people on the continent like they had understanding. All right? Yeah, they benefited a little bit from selling other tribes. But I guarantee you, more than likely, if they understood what chattel slavery was, they wouldn't have did it. All right. So, this guy, Tariq Nasheed, even Phil Scott, them Negroes need to sit down and shut up because they don't understand history. Or, and this is my opinion, they peer COINTELPRO agents. Their job is to prevent us from connecting with the continent. Why? The colonialists know it's game over. It's game over when we join our people on the continent. The Most High said he bringing us back home where we were taken from. He didn't say he gonna keep us on this land where we came as slaves. See, these Negroes up here trying to sell us the idea
that this place is our home. The very place that we've been slaves for 400 years is somehow our home. Nigga, please. I'm sorry. This is the game they running on us. They keep trying to sow confusion, telling us that this is our home. The land that we were slaves in, abused and raped, great, deleted. I got to use these words, right? They trying to convince us somehow we got a connection here. Look, one of the biggest things I ever told people, you know what? If this was our home, you know what would have happened? They would not have been able to hold us as slaves. I'll tell you why. Because if we were here and we had tribes and clans and whatever you want to call them, and my great-great-granddaddy, let's say, is the head of the so-and-so tribe, and you took me as a slave, but we're from here, my tribe, my family, my bloodline will war against you for generations till they got me back. That's how you know this ain't our homeland. Why? Because we would have known this land better than the white man. We would have been positioned to war against him until he set our people free. But guess what? When you taken from Africa and you taken to a land you don't know nothing about, you can't defend yourself. You can't protect yourself. You can't run to the safe place because you don't know the land, right? These guys don't run game on me like that. See, all that crap about America being our land, we wouldn't have been slaves if it was, because they couldn't hold on to us. It would have been impossible. Minister Yacob.
They didn't got Minister tell you on fire. I thought I was listening to myself. Y'all see what y'all did? Anyway,
I'm sorry. This is my pet peeve, though. It is this type of talk. I'm sorry.
So we have the Foundation of Black Americans and we have ADOS, and they initially started with the idea of, reparations for, descendants of slaves in America only. Okay, I'll give you that, right? I'll give you that because, hey, America owes us. But then now they want to expand this whole thing and get on the Trump bandwagon and mass deportating people, right? Now, okay. You want to deal with the Mexicans and you want to deal with the Indians and you want to deal with the Europeans who are not American citizens, which they're not dealing with. I'm just saying, if you wanted to deal with that and you wanted to make that argument, okay. But here's the thing. Even if you make that argument about people who are let's say for all purposes, descendants of African Israelites, even if you want to deal with those people, the Most High say do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So personally, I wouldn't do it, right? Because if I was here and I was an immigrant, I wouldn't want to get kicked out because all I was doing was helping your economy. I might have been illegal. All I was doing was, growing your fruits and your vegetables, building your homes and your house. Did they take away jobs? Yeah, they took away jobs. I get it, right? But it wasn't them. It was the white man. Let's get it straight, right?
Yes,
just because somebody, yeah.
I forgot to talk about that one. Did y'all hear that, Ninja? I caused the demands on anybody that's illegal alien. If he a Haitian, if he a Canadian, if he a Caribbean, I'm gonna call Massa. You believe this dude? I'm gonna call Massa on y'all because it's gonna benefit my people. His mind is twisted.
What they say? Snitches get stitches.
I know that's right. Yeah, go on. I'm like, look, I'm gonna tell you my experience with the Mexicans. Let's start there. They work hard. They contribute to the economy, and they do jobs that our people not doing no more. We not going.
We're not doing that.
We
ain't picking no fruits and vegetables, no cotton.
We not doing that no more. I'm sorry. We're gonna get on that nice little unemployment and take it. We're not going out in that field. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We paid our dues.
Them days over, man.
400 years.
Them days over.
We're not doing that, right? So then you get the better labor costs, like if you need construction assistance, they help with that. They weren't hurting as much as they were helping more than hurting. Why? Because the way this system was designed, it doesn't function off of it doesn't function without cheap labor, right? And we used to be the cheap labor. And that's the only reason the white man let them come in anyway, because they needed cheap labor. All right. So,
and they wanted to get us out of the economic system so they could put the black man in jail because the black man ain't had no job. So he had to sell drugs so they could,
that too.
Increase the prison industrial complex.
It could be complex. Yeah, it could be complex. Yeah, it's complex like that. Right. But I mean, in the end, they're not our problem. Right. They're not our problem. We know who our problem is. It's the Anglo-Saxons. Right. And that Anglo-Saxon label covers everybody that has German ancestry, the French, the UK, the Dutch, right? The Swedes, the Germans, right? That's all Anglo-Saxon. They all under that umbrella of Anglo-Saxon, right? If you want to label Esau under that umbrella, or so-called Satanists under that umbrella, you could label them under that one title right there. Minister Yacob.
So to continue my point, even, this dude coming after, the Caribbeans, the Jamaicans, all this stuff, right? Straight up brothers and sisters that's like a few miles away from us. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, just because they got a different culture than we do in America, like they say, it just was one boat stop. That kind of bull crap ticks me off, right? So you gonna call the popo on people who look like us? Is you stupid? Right? Because as Sister Ashonda said, what's to stop them from coming for you? Oh, well, I'm an American citizen. Yeah, like that's a badge that's going to protect you. They coming for us. I've been saying that from the jump. I mean, these people are so stupid that they think because they were born here that Trump is going to honor the Constitution when he has been dismantling the Constitution. Using birthright citizenship, the Insurrection Act, all these things. Is you stupid? Do you not see they're targeting us? Why you think they're getting rid of, financing schools and SNAP benefits and Medicaid and Medicare? Yeah, they're affecting their own, but at the same time, they're coming for us. How come you think that, they're not financing, black schools and stuff, and they call anything that's black history, wokeism and CRT, right? Is you stupid? Do you think the fact that, the Constitution, because Trump said, well, the birthright citizenship was only supposed to apply to descendants of slaves. Everybody know that. But the whole thing is he's tearing down the pillars of protection. So when he does come for us, right, there's nobody left to speak up for us. We're going to be the last ones because guess what? You ain't going to have no Mexicans to stand with you. Not saying they ever did, right? But my point being is, just as the old story of, Germany, I wasn't a unionist, so I didn't say nothing. I wasn't a Swede, since I wasn't a Swede, right? I didn't say nothing. Then nobody was left when they came for me. You're going to be last. You're going to be last. Just as Sister Shonda said on her show about the 8 ball is left for last. You're going to be last, and you're too stupid to figure that out, right? I'm going to tell you, personally, I can't stand FBA. They're so freaking arrogant. I can't stand them, okay? ADOS is a little bit more palatable for me, but FBA is so arrogant. I can't stand Tariq Nasheed. I can't stand no FBA person. They're anti-Bible. They're arrogant as a mother F. And then, but then, right, what they want to protect, think about what they're protecting. What they're protecting is the crumbs on the table.
Yep, the crumbs on the table.
Negroes fighting for the crumbs on the table while Master has the house, the car, the pool, the money, the land, and these Negroes fighting for the crumbs on the table. Oh, well, the Mexicans might get some of my crumbs. But yet what we doing, we're fighting for unity, right? I'm a Pan-Africanist. Call me a Pan-Africanist, right? I'm a Pan-African Israelite. We are for Unity for the two sticks coming together. You know why? Because once we unite as a people, there's nobody who can stop us. There's nobody who can stop our rise. Just as the scripture says, we believe the Torah. We believe that all of this is prophetic. We believe that we're coming together as a nation of people, and that that the curses are off for us, and that we are rising. While these Negroes fighting for crumbs. Somebody make it make sense.
We win when we unite with the continent. We win, right? And a lot of our people on the continent understand we need each other. But when we join, that's the winning move. That's the winning move. And these guys are working to keep us from rejoining. You know how they globally paint all Africans with one word, African. What is an African then? Nigga, please. Give me a definition. You know? I mean, the very people our ancestors are from that's still on the continent. I got family over there. I don't know who they are, but I got blood family over there. So are you talking about my family too? That dude talking about your family, whether you know who they are today, you got blood connections, right? And that's what we trying to reconnect. And this whole thing about Trump and the whole 14th Amendment, he basically made us stand down. Oh, he said we good. He said the 14th Amendment just for us. So we can stand down and not worry. It's all going to be ours. And he just saving you for last once he clean the streets. Once he clean the streets, he coming back for you. Come on now. The laws can be whatever they say they are. The laws are up to interpretation. The 14th Amendment is up for interpretation. And if you notice, Trump has the ability now, because of the Supreme Court, even with the 14th Amendment, he could say you're against the United States because you are anti-Semitic. You're against those people. So because you're against those people, I'm kicking you out. Forget the 14th Amendment now. You're a threat to the government, so I can still kick you out. He can redefine all of these laws and use them however he wants. And that's what he's doing. That's what he's going to do. He's testing the waters. He's testing the laws. And guess what? Congress is backing him. The Supreme Court is backing him. Everyone's backing this dude. Okay. So clearly he's testing the waters. The laws don't mean anything anymore.
Sister Shonda, how's it going? Welcome.
Shalom, shalom. Very interesting conversation today.
Oh yeah, look, Sister Shonda, we got to talk about this one. You handled them pretty good, but you was real nice. You know, I meant to tell you, now we ain't gonna be nice.
You guys have put the Hebrew community on fire today. Like, wow.
And it's so crazy because on Shabbat, like, you know, I was, you know, kind of like thinking about, do I need to engage in this conversation? Because, you know, with the Essence Fest and everything, this has been like the hot topic. And I wasn't going to, but then I just kept coming up in my feed and I had already recorded. So I said, I'm gonna go ahead and release it and let's have an open discussion. Then I remember that today was 7/14. It was the 14th of July, and the 7/14 movement is our 5-year anniversary of prayer initiatives that we've been doing. All of us, you know, collectively have been praying for Yasharel. And so I thought about it. I was like, you know, we need to have this discussion first. We need to be able to deal with the offenses before we enter into prayer. And so I did not want anybody who came on the panel to not feel heard and understood. And quite frankly, all the points that he made, you know, as crazy and as ludicrous as they may sound, and I do believe that they're very ludicrous in terms of how he handles his disagreements and his disparage against Caribbean and continental Israelites. He is holding the talking points that many FBA have. And I'm hoping that we can get to a point where we engage in dialogue to where we can get to reconciliation and forgiveness, because scripture mandates that we love one another. Ezekiel 37 about us coming together. I know it's frustrating, especially like I said over and over again, me coming from both sides, being Black American through my father being born in America, but also having a West Indian background from the Caribbean. That's the major part of my influence was Caribbean in America. So I understand both sides. And quite frankly, I feel like, you know, when he took the position that he did, where he talked about calling ICE on our brothers and sisters, I'm like, are you serious? I think that analogy that you used with the plantation is a perfect example. You're going to our oppressor to tell on our brothers and sisters just because they're not born here. What kind of craziness is that? The oppressors do not, they did not legally get America. They colonized it in the same way they go all over the world. So you're doing the work of the enemy while you're saying that you're doing on behalf of our people. And I just disagree with that. But yeah, I just want to get my little 2 cents in. Shalom, Yah is very real. I was actually asking him to be on the panel because he is from the UK and I wanted to hear his perspective, but I'm glad that you're on here today.
Shalom, shalom, sister Shanda. Shalom, the Taylor twins. Thank you guys for having me.
What's up, Dans? How's it going?
Shalom, shalom, everyone. Is my mic good? Is my mic good?
Yeah, sound good.
Sounds good. Shalom to everyone else on the panel. Thank you, Ashanda, for inviting me to that panel. I joined it, what's it called, during the last, I would say the last maybe hour of it. And the conversation, I was losing my mind at that Pan Mulatto guy. I was, let me just say something. I'm not racist, guys, but there's something about these mulattoes that we don't know about. Like, when, I don't know what it is. It's like, when you have these people who have one white parent and one black parent, they're like they're a confused people. They're always confused. Like, it's very rarely that I meet like a mixed race like individual who's like very sound minded and doesn't have like internal conflict in some shape or regard. But this guy, like, the way I was listening to him, first of all, the title Pan Mulatto in itself is a joke. It's just a joke. Like, I don't know what his objective is there. Like, what does he want to unite every single mulatto person in the world and like, create a like confused convention or something? I don't know what he wants to do with that. And then you have like his his FBA mindset. This guy's he's a modern day Uncle Tom. He's a modern day Uncle Tom. He's the type of guy who would snitch on the slaves who are trying to escape the field.
Yeah, exactly.
He would tell the master, they're trying to burn your house down. That I don't know why he has an obsession with Babylon so much to the point where he would snitch on people who were coming to this place to at least try and better their situation. It's asinine to me. The fact that he would call and the fact that he believes that his American identity and his American his American citizenship is a barrier for him not being. He's silly. That's foolish. That's the most foolish thing you can ever think of. You think a piece of paper, you think a passport is going to stop them from doing what they want to do to you? They see nothing else but your skin color. Go ahead, Taylor.
Did he remind you of Samuel L. Jackson?
Oh my!
We gotta burn them sheets, master. You gonna let him sleep in that bed?
Yes, master. But all I could see was Samuel L. Jackson going, "No!" I could just see him massive. No. Oh my gosh. Top grade coon. Like, that guy is an Uncle Tom and a half. I'm sorry. I don't want to get like, too ad hominem with it, but I'm sorry. A coon is a coon, and Uncle Tom is an Uncle Tom. And we know him when we see him. That was one of them. And another thing I want to address is this stupid FBA mindset that a lot of Americans have. Like, Jacoby, you were saying it earlier in the live that you have a strong contention with what's it called, FBAs, and I agree. We've had discussions about this before. I really don't like FBAs. They have this mindset that for some reason that they're completely removed from the African continent and they have nothing to do with the people there because of the 400 years of slavery and everything. And I'm not gonna lie, some of the talking points that these FBAs do have are legitimate, such as the claim to reparations. Even though we know biblically that it's not for Pharaoh to give us reparations, for the Most High to do that for us. We know that obviously, they have a legitimate claim to want reparations for their slavery, right? It's a fair claim, but they claim this righteous claim into a form of indigeneity. Like, they suggest they make the claim as if they grew out of the American soul and they have no connection to everyone else. Like, let me pose FBAs who are watching this a question, right? Were the children of Israel who were born in Egypt no longer Hebrews? Were the children of Israel who were born in Babylon no longer Hebrews? Were the children who were born in the Assyrian captivity no longer Hebrews? Did their generations of bondage in a foreign land suddenly sever their connection to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? No, because it was a captivity, just like America. Just like the experience of the black man in America. To claim that your land of your captivity is your origin and your homeland is an amputation of your history. And another thing I need to address, there are so many things I need to address with the stupidity that guy said, so I want to make it quick. I'm sorry, guys, but like I was just watching it and I was boiling with rage. I should have been there, Ashanda. I'm sorry, I should have been there. But let me go on. Let me talk about this false dichotomy that needs to be addressed within the Israelite community, and specifically with that Pan Mulatto guy. This stupid Semite versus Hamite dichotomy that exists, right? Believing that all Africans are Hamites, right? And all Black Americans are Semites, and therefore you guys are completely removed, and you guys are completely two ethnic groups who are removed from each other.
That's another pet peeve of mine. Go ahead.
It hurts my brain. It really does. It's the most asinine generalization ever, right? Number one, Shem and Ham were brothers. Shem and Ham were brothers. Let me walk you through this. The Cushites are a black people. The Cushites descend from Cush. This makes Cush black. Cush would be a black man. Cush descends from Ham. This makes Ham a black man. If Ham, Shem, and Japheth, if Ham is black and Ham, Shem, and Japheth are brothers, if Ham is black, what color would Shem and Japheth be? What color would they be? They would be black, just like their brother Ham. So they were all a black people. And it was only, I know that a lot of people say that, it's true that the Europeans come from Japheth, and obviously that's thousands of years removed of genetic deviation, genetic mutation, moving into colder climates and such. So we can get into the whole white man thing in another day, but addressing the whole progenitors of the world, they were black, right? And the descendants were black African people, as we know that Cush, the progenitor of the black Cushites, and Mizraim were the sons of Ham. They were brothers. The Israelites were indistinguishable from Hamites. Several times throughout the Bible, the Israelites were mistaken for Egyptians. It happened to Moses. It happened to Joseph. It happened to Paul. It happened to the Israelites as a whole in Genesis when they were burying their father Jacob. It happened to the Canaanites, generalized them all as Egyptians. And it also happened to Yahusha. Yahusha went into Egypt. He hid in Egypt from the Roman soldiers. So how are you going to make the claim that the Hamites and the Semites are completely two ethnic? But as a matter of fact, Moses married a Cushite woman. Esau was with Cushite people, with Hamites. Jacob was with Hamites. Jacob was with Hamites. Wait, no, I don't think Jacob was with Hamites. Jacob's married Leah, Rachel. No, Jacob wasn't with Hamites. Sorry, that was Joseph. Joseph, there you go, Joseph, the house of Ephraim and Manasseh, and you also have so many other progenitors of Israel. Who were married to Cushites. There are entire tables dedicated to this. The Semites and the Hamites were mixed very deeply, and there are no marriages between the Israelites and the Japhethites throughout the Bible. So I ask this with sincerity: how can one group of people, the Israelites, be a different people from another group of black people if they look so similar to the point where they were constantly mistaken for each other? This Semite versus Hamite, African versus Black American division is a European construct. It was created to separate the biblical Hebrews, who the European has whitewashed in his own image, to the supposedly cursed African Hamite from the curse of Ham. When African brothers repeat this stupid nonsense, they're unknowingly using their enemies' weapons against their own people. They're doing the work of the oppressors. What Pan Mulatto is doing is he's being a coon. I'm sorry, that's the only word I can find for it. And Uncle Tom, you're being a coon. The nonsense that he was spitting was irritable to my ears. And another thing, there was a Nigerian man who joined the panel, right? And he made a great point. Pan Mulatto made the argument.
So then make your point, and so we can move on to the next person.
Of course. Yeah, this is my last point. The Nigerian man made a great point, who joined the panel. He made a great point. Pan Mulatto was talking about how would you forgive the people who sold your ancestors to slavery if you knew that they sold your ancestors into slavery? And the Nigerian man had made a rebuttal that I don't think many people addressed, and went over many people's heads. He said that throughout the Bible, there were brother wars. Judah would fight against Ephraim. Ephraim would fight against Judah. Judah would sell Ephraim into slavery. Ephraim would sell Judah into slavery. Gad would sell Gad into slavery. Levi, within our own people, within our own families, we were sending each other into hell. Even the story of Joseph was this: that Joseph was sold into slavery by his own brothers. What are you talking about? Like, it's such a stupid point. But yeah, like I'll land it there. You know, just stupidity irritates me, and I'm sorry that what the things he was saying were really stupid. So just I'm gonna leave it at we do have agents in our community, and just look at people's fruits. Look at the things that people say. Look at the things that people do. The fact that there is a man in our community who gloats and praises the fact that he caused ice on other people, even though there's a very strong possibility that in the future, people who look exactly like him are going to be deported. It is amazing to me. It blows my mind. But I'll land my plane there. Thank you for having me.
And you know his name says a lot. Pan Mulatto. Pan African. That's Pan Mulatto.
He's confused. He's a confused.
Look, Haitians were another bus stop off the boat. They are family. I'm like, stop it.
Oh my God, that's my
we're happy and we're singing and we're happy. Color. Give me a high five. Let's go on to Pierre.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, how's it going, Pierre?
Hey, how you doing, guys? Listen, Mr. Tail, bro, Yacoba, you've been on fire, man. You have been on fire. When you said that you ain't got much time and you putting out, man, you've been churning it out and you've been putting out. Like you said, your job is to warn us. Once everything happens, you can wipe your hand clean. You have no accountability. Let these Negroes do what they do. I agree with you on the FBA's Tariq. He's got a whole lot of arrogance. I wanted to say this on this about the Constitution. You can write whatever laws you want. They can be the best laws ever. I mean, you can't get better than the 10 Commandments, but let's just say you got better than the 10 Commandments. It's all about enforcement. If they don't want to enforce it, you know, who's, like you all said, who's going to be there to make them be accountable to enforce the 14th Amendment? These guys, they had better get it in their mind that anybody can be deported, and that includes all of us that's talking. So, and all those who can hear the sound of our voice through this program. I don't know how y'all feel about Brother Tim Stevens, but I watch him as well. He had a podcast the other day, and he was talking about how they are on full court press trying to stop this movement, this awakening. When I say they, I'm talking about the Jewish, the small hats. They're coming out with they're even trying to change the scripture when it comes to Deuteronomy 68 and 28.
You mean like Pastor Brown?
There you go. You know who I was talking about. There you go. You watched it too then.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. So they're on full court press, and man, like he said, you know, it is not even about Trump. It's the people that's behind them pulling the strings who's making Trump do this. And I watched one other. I think it was on the same podcast that there was an interview with the guys who were doing. I think it was InfoWars or whatever it was, and he kept asking him what president didn't go kiss the wall, and he said JFK. And we all know what happened to him. So we know that it's them that's pulling the strings. That is because they don't want the two sticks to come together. They don't want the two sticks to come together. So, Brother Yacoba, I want to point, and it's real quick. I just want to read a quick scripture on Genesis 15:12 through. It is basically, I'll just summarize and paraphrase it. Abram had a deep sleep, and he had a vision. And basically, he saw the descendants of what we were going to go through. It was so horrifying. It scared him. And it basically talked about how the Most High said that we were going to go through this. That means the Haitians, that means the Jamaicans, that means all of us. That ties us together. We're all one people. And that's basically all I wanted to say, Brother Yacoba.
All right, thank you, Brother Pierre. Brother Bruce, welcome.
Well, hey, shalom, shalom. How's it going?
What's up,
Wow.
Bruce?
Hey, now, hey, man, let's tell you, you were on fire, man. Hey, I got into an argument at work, with these demons here, and man, it was pretty much the same argument I had with some brothers, some of the FBAs and ADOS and all this other stuff. I said, look, man, either God's a lie or these FBA leaders are telling the truth. Now, which one? Who is the one you going to believe? Are you going to believe God? Or are you going to believe? Because I just Father Yah. Or which one are you going to believe? I said us. We were scattered, Judah, to the four corners of the earth. I said we would. It was prophesied that we would be in the land of our enemies. We are in the land of our. This is not our land. We're indigenous to here. We're a new ethnogenesis. I was like, no. The scripture said we will be in the land of our enemies. I remember when Minister Yacoba did that. Minister Yacoba, you did that 4th of July thing. You did that 4th of July on Independence Day, and that stuck with me even to this day. And I invite people to in the listening audience to go back and find that. And Minister Yacoba was talking about how we're in the land of our enemies. So how can we be in the land of our enemies and the Most High Yah said we're going to be in the land of our enemies, but yet we indigenous to here, and then this is our home, and we done took on a new ethnogenesis. Them FBAs, Tariq Rashid, and all the other
That's
folks.
how you know they work for the enemy.
Yes.
Right, because the obvious, they don't acknowledge the obvious, right?
Right.
They're pushing anything to keep us away from the continent because it's game over once we go back.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, they got to be agents, So I go back and forth with these folks, and I tell them, no, this is not our land. I'm sorry, no, you're a liar. Why you gonna call me a liar? Because you're lying. I said, I'm not gonna allow you to lie on the Most High. I says, well, I'm gonna believe you. I'm gonna believe the Most High. I said, the main problem with you FBAs and you ADOS and whatever you are, you don't have no Bible, and you don't understand history, and you don't understand the Word of God, and you don't understand prophecy. So that's my thing is. So that's why when the snippet that you played earlier with Sister Shonda, I was like, yeah, same old thing. They don't know history. They don't. Matter of fact, you know what, Jacoba, they don't even want to believe it. They posturing. I shouldn't say all, but the majority of them, they don't want to believe the Word of God.
They're atheists.
Yeah, and most of them are reprobate because they got other agendas. Their God is their belly, and they just make me sick. So that's all I really had to say. But I had to come on here, man, because Mr. Tay, you had me dying laughing over here, man, at work. I appreciate you, Jacoba. You're my man. We'll talk.
Let me ask you a question right quick before we move on, Brother Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
So how come these Christians are talking about all of this stuff that's happening, the prophecies, all this stuff, right? They act like it don't exist.
You know what? I was thinking about that the other day. Because they've been so indoctrinated with Eurocentric Christianity that they don't. Most of them don't have a hunger for the truth. Instead of calling a spade and saying amen to what's wrong, or if I'll be the first to admit when I was understanding some scripture the wrong way, and Minister Tayu and Minister Jacoba, they showed me the error of my ways and what the scriptures meant and so forth. And I ain't no follower, others from the other channel talking about those your pastors. I laugh and they're like, yeah. I said, no, it's iron sharpen iron. And if I can see that I'm in error, then I'm gonna accept error. I'm gonna do the correction, go before the Lord, and see if it's true. And I'm gonna search this thing out to see if it's true. And if you can't humble yourself to see when you're in error, then you are not in it for truth. You're just in it for self, and you want to lord over people. So no, man, they don't want to. A lot of them don't want to see it. COVID. They don't want to see it. A lot of them are reprobate, They're gonna talk about, hey, why don't you just pray for them? No, it's like, what's Sister Deborah did who did the White House series? She was on yesterday, man, and that's a. Hope I don't get in trouble for saying that, but she was telling this one person that was in there talking about you need to pray for them. And then he was like, no, we don't pray for our enemy. We pray for the enemies that they were talking about. Pray for your enemies. Was Israel. She was saying you ain't gonna. David ain't gonna pray for Goliath. And Samson and all that. I was like, no. No, they are our enemies. And what David said, I love what God loved, and I hate what God hate. So I'm paraphrasing. So yeah, man, they don't want to know. But I do know that. See, that's why the Holy Spirit is real, because when you got brothers like us, all of us on the panel, Sister Shonda, Miss Tay, and all of us, we got the Holy Ghost. We got the Ruach HaKodesh, and when we see error. When we hear error, we're like all on one accord. We're like, no, that don't line up with the word of God. That don't line up with prophecy. Now we may disagree on some things, but we can come back together and talk about it. But like this FBA, we can tell that's a plot of the enemy to keep the two sticks from coming together. We're like, nah, man, we ain't, and we're ignorant of Satan devices. So yeah, that's really all I had. I appreciate you guys. Later.
Thank you, Brother Bruce. Appreciate it. Yep. Let me comment before I come to you, Brother Brian, from this camp member, King Shaq Yahuda, got to be a camp member. This channel is all about fleeing to create a Liberia 2.0. We ain't never say create a Liberia 2.0. Is you ignorant? you probably don't even follow this channel. What we do teach is that the Bible says we're going to flee. Is you ignorant? Or are you a deceiver or an agent? Which one?
The Bible also says
you probably a camp member, but go ahead, Mr. T.
The Bible also says we have to leave in order for the Most High to judge Babylon, Mystery Babylon, the great, the mother of harlots. So we believe the Bible. You camps don't. But I truly believe y'all One West people are COINTELPRO anyway, so it don't matter.
Oh yeah, they all COINTELPRO, exactly. Brother Brian, how's it going?
Shalom, family. How y'all doing today?
Doing good.
First off, I'd like to commend Sister Shonda for her meekness and her humility, because I couldn't have done it. It's just no way.
She did it well. I'm telling you, she was great. I couldn't do it.
It's no way possible. I would have got kicked off of our show because I would have said some stuff. I mean, tremendously. I mean, honestly, I would have said some things. And if I would have been, I'm not no bad guy or nothing like that. But if I would have been there personally, we would have ended up moving some furniture. Honestly, it would have been something. It would have been some things happening. And as far as
I was glad that Brother Don P stepped up. Brother Don P stepped up. Shout out to him, but go ahead.
Right. And as far as us falling back on the Constitution, why don't the FDAs go ask an indigenous Native American if they can find one that's not whited out? Go ask them about those 400 peace treaties that got wiped out. Whatever happened with those? They all got basically torn up in their face. So the Constitution can get rewritten again, with the stroke of a pen. So therefore, you can't rely on that. And then also as well, like Minister Tayu was saying, he was mentioning about, I don't think they understand how the travel route went. Or if they did, I mean, it doesn't take a genius to realize the route of travel from the way the transatlantic slave trade, how the ships travel. Our bus stop was basically one of the last bus stops. So therefore, it tells you had the Caribbean. You had the Caribbean before us. So we all primarily originated from the point of no return. So we were all basically in the same area. So how can you hate against your brothers, sisters, cousins, or whatever, however you want to call it, but your conglomerate group of family members, and you hate against them? And as far as a snitch, no, I don't deal with snitches. I was raised not to deal with a snitch. I could never deal with a snitch. And what did Yahshua say about a snitch? What did he say about Judas? So I can't ride with him. I could never ride with that dude. I could never ride with people that think like that. I don't want to have nothing to do with people like that. Period. Point blank. And ain't no making no amends. It's none of that. You stay on your side of the street. I'm gonna stay on my side of the street. I don't want to talk to you at all. Period. And I'm gonna land my plane there.
And
Go
why
ahead.
that guy hovering in our community? Because I seen him on Brother Karras before Ashonda. He's hovering around our community, but he doesn't even believe he's an Israelite. Why? Because he don't even know the Bible, so he don't believe the Bible. So why is he hanging around? He's causing confusion and making a lot of static noise to keep our people confused. That's the job.
Brother Yacoba, I want to just interject real quick. I won't snitch on someone. We have to be careful about this this hate that we're giving our, the Hispanics. Now, I'm not like, I don't believe in the Black Brown coalition or whatever, but what you do,
I don't either.
no, I don't believe in that coalition. But what you do, what you sow, you will reap. So at some point,
that's my favorite scripture, my brother. You reap what you sow is my favorite scripture of all time.
Right. So this thing may come back around where we're asking them to help us. So we better be careful. Just like when the Israelites was trying to get through and get through the land, and they sent guys ahead to say, "Hey, can we go through your land? We won't take any of your food. Whatever we do, we'll repay you." And they said, "No." We have to be careful that we don't become who we're fighting against. So we better be careful about all this hate we're giving toward those brothers, because we may turn around and have to use and need them again.
Look, that's the FBAs doing that, right? The FBAs are getting louder because they got more support from YouTube and TikTok, allowing them to be heard, not allowing us to be heard, right? We're not going against them. What the heck we care about, whether or not the Mexicans work here? I mean, we don't have a problem with them. I mean, we know who our enemy is. We know who blocking our success. We know who blocking our opportunities at jobs and money. It ain't them.
Who did Ali say our enemy is?
There you go.
I was gonna make a post on your Facebook page this week, but I don't know why I didn't do it. But I want to know, and this is I'm gonna land my plane here. I'll be totally done. But where did this FBA start from? I don't have a clue. I don't deal with short bus communities and conversations and really, because I don't even know what they believe in. I never researched them or anything, because it's short bus retarded stuff to me. So I never looked it up. So I never knew what it was about.
Tariq is a Sambo. That's what he is, right? He's a plant.
They sound like MAGA.
Is it a religion? Is this some type of religious belief behind it? I mean, I don't even have a clue what it's about.
It's a political movement. It's a political movement.
Really?
That's all it is. Yeah.
Okay, because I had no clue what that was about.
Yeah,
but
wow.
Tariq
Nasheed moves with an agenda, right? And he's not tied toward anything biblical at all, right? More than likely, he's an atheist. All right. And Phil Scott rolling with him on that. And Phil Scott, I'm pretty sure he's peer FBA right now, even though he supports IUIC. But you got to watch Phil Scott. He moved just like Tariq Nasheed.
Well, people need to really research Tariq Nasheed, because I know people from Detroit. They don't even have a clue about that dude. I'm going to land my plane there. They don't know nothing about that guy. They need to research that guy and who he really is and know who they riding with.
You can tell he's an agent, because what's it called in 2009?
It's a reason why he turned into an agent. They need to research what he's about. He had to turn into an agent. He did some stuff.
100%.
And what did people do in the 90s? Think about what our people did in the 90s, but I'm gonna stop there.
I said in 2011 he created a documentary film called Hidden Colors: The Untold History of People of Aboriginal, Moor, and African Descent. But now in today's day and age, he's an FBA and wants nothing to do with the Africans. So in 2011, he was making documentaries covering African history, covering Moor history and Aboriginal history. But 14 years later, he's on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, and now has nothing to do with Africans and wants nothing to do with them, and has a movement promoting Black Africanism and Negro culture, as he likes to call it, and stuff like that. So that's I just find that interesting to me how
But what I'm saying is documented. This is what I'm saying is no speculation. This is all documented. But what our people fell from in the 80s and the 90s, he was involved in big time, and some stuff happened, and so he had to basically turn to what he turned to. I don't say he had, but he did to keep from going on a long vacation. And I'm gonna land my plane there.
And you can add,
right,
you can add. In my opinion, I'm sorry. In my
Mhm.
opinion, you can add Dan Calloway to that because he's one of those indigenous
oh yeah,
African people
oh yeah,
over
definitely.
here, the Indians and things of that nature. And I think he's
All
a
the all the pretendians, right? They got to be government out. But let's move on to Brother Robert. Brother Robert, thanks for your patience.
Hey, how you doing?
All right, how's it going?
I'm doing good. Yeah, them FBAs, they don't believe in the word at all.
Nope.
The Genesis explains it, that we'd be in a land that's not ours, and that the Most High would be taking us out of here. The second Exodus, or the gathering, or whatever you want to call it. And that's what I'm looking forward to. So, but the confusion part comes in is with these people saying we're pretendians, we're Indians. And I heard that in my family too, but that doesn't make it out. So there may have been some admixture sometime in the past, but then you also got to look at the history. The history is that we were the Buffalo Soldiers hunting those guys, and those guys had us in slavery. So when you put the whole history up there, it doesn't look too good for those FBAs. But anyway, I just wanted to make a little short synopsis on that. All it is a ball of confusion. That's it.
Yeah, definitely.
All
All
right,
right, thank you,
you.
Brother Robert. All right, Lady J.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Oh, shalom, family. You know, that was so disappointing to hear and very hard on the ears to listen to, because one doesn't need to open their mouth to be picked up by ICE. They just look at the color of you and you can be taken.
Yep.
And for him to say that he would report anyone, it's taking us back to a time that certain people will not ever allow us to forget. And he would have been one of those that would tell if you had someone hiding in your attic.
Yep.
And to think, it's like having, well, what did the word say? That we have more to fear within than out. And I know churches use that verse speaking about congregations, but as a people, as a nation, we can use that same verse. Because to think your own can turn you in. But if he's listening to this, he better know that even in the UK, we are not safe. Because I don't know if you've ever heard of the Windrush generation.
Yeah.
Right. They were scooping them up and just sending them back. Where some of them, I think, still have not come back to this country yet. where their houses and everything have been taken by the government. And some of them have even died, so will never ever return. So even here in the UK, we as a Black people, we are not safe. And I'm on holiday now, but 2 weeks ago at work, a co-worker of mine actually said, now she's young, but I'm not going to excuse her because she is a capital R. And she actually said, this country needs a prime minister like Trump. This is my co-worker. And you know what? I laughed. And I said, yeah, that would be great, because then that would help me out a lot. Because I'm ready to leave this place. So this is happening in most places where the people will say to you, go back to your country. So, you know, that man, and like Sister Shonda said, but you could be reported and taken, regardless of you being an American citizen. And to think he knows the places that they are going to, like Alligator Alcatraz. Are you serious?
Exactly.
That is wicked. He is wicked.
Yep, he is.
He is downright out wicked. And I've always said, and tell me if I'm wrong, that as a Black people, we need to come together. But people like him, because he fails to realize that divided, we cannot stand. We will fall.
Yep. Yep.
And it's bringing in the spirit of slavery again, which is already there because we can see it's being put in place. But also the fact that a Holocaust or genocide can happen, because that's also where we're heading. But Brother Yakoba, you know, all I can say is keep up the good work. And Sister Ashanda, you know, because if there are not voices like yourselves, then people, there wouldn't be enough people waking up. And I believe that God is using you all to kind of speed up the awakening process, because we're in serious times, very serious times. And I don't think people realize just how serious it is. And what that co-worker said to me.
They don't realize it.
No.
They don't realize it.
And what that co-worker said to me, you know, because she's palm colored, I've had to say, does she have any idea what she just said to me? So for her, she would have me be put on a train where I'd end up in a chamber. So, you know, these people and that man needs to be so careful of what they wish for, because they just might get it. And then you know what? They will have blood on their hands. He already has blood on his hands.
Yeah.
Because look at all the people that have been washing up ashore. He better know that one or two, or however how many he's reported, could be those people that have washed up dead. So he better know that makes him a murderer. And you know what?
That's true.
While he's at it, he needs to get himself a little tiny black mustache, because that's who he's representing right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's who he's representing. And you know, they are everywhere, because I work with a few where I have warned them, and they look at me like, oh, you're just trying to cause trouble for me. You don't want to see me moving up. You know, I can see that's what's going on in their heads. And the minute that they get turned on, they come running back to me to say, oh, you were right. And you know what? They are the ones that are just like him. Because as much as you try to help them and be on their side and give them that encouragement and what have you, oh, they'll tell on you and throw you under the bus in a minute. Not realizing that they are only being used and not to benefit them. So yeah, I landed there, Brother Yakoba. You know,
Okay.
it's a sad state of affairs. Really sad.
All right. Thank you, Lady J, for coming on. So,
Oh,
Minister tell
you're
you, I
welcome.
want.
God bless you all.
God bless you. Yeah, bless you. Minister tell you, I want you to respond to this. Our people
Oh,
been in this
man.
land. They call America for 30,000 years
Minister
before Europeans ever
Yakoba
showed up.
is testing me, y'all. Am I being tested, Minister Yakoba?
Everybody being tested.
Oh, bro.
Oh, let me pray for me, y'all. Pray for me. This is my pet peeve topic today. So let me reel it back in. So this guy said, our people been in this land they call America for 30,000 years before Europeans even showed up. So what are you guys talking about? All right. I challenge you to prove that statement instead of regurgitating trash.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you.
Because
Pretending.
y'all keep doing this over and over again, making these big statements like this is our homeland. We've been here forever. Blah, blah. Right. Somebody got you on that topic, on that narrative, and y'all swallowed it hook, line, and sinker, and you're running with it. But when somebody calls you out on it, you ain't got no proof. Why? There's zero evidence that there's Negroes on this continent for 30,000 years. All right. Even Geronimo was dark-skinned. He was not a Negro. Right. But y'all try to tie yourselves to those groups of people because they're dark-skinned. Dark-skinned does not mean Negro. All right. So y'all need to stop with the BS. We not stupid. Y'all gaslighting us like you're trying to do right now. It's the obvious. Really? How do y'all don't? How is it y'all don't understand this is our homeland because we've been here for 30,000 years? Nigga, please.
Y'all got me to tell you upset.
This is stupid stuff. I get sick of it. They repeat this stuff all over and over again, and it's really gaslighting. You know how gaslighting feels, right? It feels a certain way. They make you feel like you don't know what you're talking about, right? And this is what they do. Now, this guy, you could come on right now and bring me some receipts, nigga. I'm sorry. I told y'all this is my pet peeve. This is my number one pet peeve. My number one pet peeve in the world. This thing right here. All right? So forgive me. But
He is activated today.
I told y'all, this is, ask Yakoba, how do I feel about this topic?
Oh, yeah, this is pet peeve.
Look, this is one of those things that's obvious. It's obvious we not Native American Indians. It's obvious we're not from America, and they're pushing this agenda. So I'm saying, are you working for the enemy? Or is your job to gaslight us? Is your job to be a COINTELPRO agent? Right? When we even have DNA proof where we come from, and y'all niggas say it ain't enough.
This is pet peeve, y'all.
That our DNA point us back to Nigeria, 99.9% of us, and Ghana and Senegal and all of this, and y'all up here pushing this stuff. I'm gonna tell you, you know why it's my pet peeve? Because it's gaslighting. gaslighting feels bad, right? When you say water not wet, and I'm telling you water wet, and you telling me water not wet, you gonna frustrate me.
Water wet, nigga.
That's what I'm saying. Damn. Water wet. Do I have to defend the fact that water is wet? This is what I'm talking about. It's gaslighting. This is why I get like this. It's literally gaslighting. The sky ain't blue. The sky ain't blue. Y'all been calling the sky blue forever. No, the sky is purple. What are you talking about? Now you got to prove that the sky blue. Because this nigga done said the sky purple. I'm sorry. We shouldn't even be having this debate. But what was the worst thing about this? It gains momentum.
Yeah.
And you got people
that's
like
because
Dan
it's finance.
Calloway. Yeah, it's finance, right? Them ish people financing this, and we have a lot of traders in our community pushing this, right? They all trying to confuse our people, because when we confuse, we're not going to move together. We're not going to unite. The obvious, right? If we stay true to the scriptures, we know what we're supposed to do. We're going to unite the two sticks. But we got people like this out here pushing this nonsense, gaslighting us, making us feel like we don't know what we talking about. Black ain't black no more. You Native American Indian. Your kinky hair don't mean nothing. You related to them slick hair people called Cherokee. Don't you feel gaslighted when they do that? That's like the wife saying, this blonde-haired, blue-eyed white baby is yours. You like, honey, how that's my baby? It's your baby. I ain't never been with nobody else, right?
Who white baby is that? He got a credit score of 750.
That's what I'm saying. Now she gaslighting me. I'm like, this ain't my baby. What? How the heck this blonde-haired, blue-eyed baby mine and you up here? I got kinky hair. What are you talking about? Now I gotta deal with this. This is what I'm talking about. This is why it's a pet peeve, because it's gaslighting. They make the obvious and turn it into a lie while they're the ones lying. This is why I get so emotional. Gaslighting hurts. It's like, what do you mean that's my kid? I'm not white. Well, honey, you either trust me or you don't. Well, I don't trust you, liar. Come on. I rest my case. Right, I'm going off today.
All right, Stacey Ann, sorry to keep you waiting.
I'm not sorry. Afternoon, everybody. I've been listening and learning. I'm all right. I'm grateful that I'm able to hear what's going on the other side, because had I not been a part of this community, I would not be aware that there was a war amongst us, because it's been typical that if you are Black and you have our kind of here, then we are one. And to find out that there's somebody, or there are people, a group of people who would look like us and have the same beginning as us, saying that, well, we're not the same, therefore I reserve the right to put you at risk. I'm wondering if this person who has been the center of the discussion has ever heard of Marcus Garvey, because while he was in America struggling with Black Americans, he was not there struggling, not to say by extension Jamaicans would not have benefited, but he was not there with us fighting for all the benefits that he wanted us as a group of people to have, So I'm wondering if he's aware. However, I'm kind of conflicted in that him being against the rest of us, since he's and his people have been there for 30,000 years, and he's against us, and he wants to call to get us ejected. I have a kind of different view on that, in that I know that what is to come, many of us will not willingly leave. So maybe we ought to encourage him so that those who would not leave on their own, will be helped along. That's just my view. I know it will not be popular, but, seeing that being returned to your homeland cannot be compared to what you will experience if you remain where you are when judgment really comes. I would prefer that he keep on doing his good work, because there's a saying that God has a sense of humor. And he, as everybody has said, quite a few people have said before, that he could very well find himself in the same position that he has put some people. Being a proud mulatto, I don't know. He is confused, I believe, because he doesn't know which side he's really to choose. Being a pan mulatto, I don't know how you would reconcile that. Who am I really? So yeah, I think he's confused. So I know that people will be people, and so I'm expecting God to be himself. And as we will be joined together, as you have rightly said, the two sticks will come together. All we have to do is continue to believe in he who is God. Believe what the word says. Continue focusing on him. He says, focus on me. Me will do everything else. Just focus on me. God will sort it out. He will. So we continue to be joined together in him, and it will work out. So we not even have to focus on him so much and quarrel with him. Him be himself, make him go and be himself. He have to reap. And so, as others have said prior to, he must get what come to him. Have to. And so all the others who convince themselves that they probably aren't even black, and quarrel with them. They are not Negroes. We know who we are. And we are desiring to come together. Whether I'm Jamaican, I'm Negro Canadian, I'm on another Caribbean island, I'm in America, I'm in Africa. We know who we are. We are learning who we are. And eventually, those other people who are against us coming together are fighting a futile battle, because what God has said has to come to pass. So we're not even quarrel with them. We are going to focus on we God. We are going to listen to your word. We are going to design our heart. We come put it together. And that's what it's going to be. So let him be himself, and we will not quarrel with him. We give God thanks because he's good. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Sister
Amen.
Stacey. So let's get final comments, Brother Den.
I mean, yeah, I've said what I needed to say in regards to the mulatto guy. I just don't like Uncle Toms. I don't like agents. I don't like people who, I just don't. The fact that you would call that's just the thing I can't get over. The fact that he willingly gloated that he caused ice on people. Like that's just man, that's just like scum of the earth behavior. But yeah. I don't want to dwell too much in that. I wanted to talk about maybe one or two comments I saw before I leave. Venice Space said that this conversation was been divisive, and I disagree with that. I believe that most of us, I'm pretty sure, as a matter of fact, all of us in this call have been on one accord. We know that we don't take the position of what the Pamela guy said at all, and I don't really think this is divisive at all. Like I feel like if anything, this has been edifying because we now know how to, we at least we've shown the audience what an agent looks like. We've shown the talking points. We've shown how they operate. We've shown why it's wrong, why the mindset is incorrect. We've looked at it scripturally as well. So I don't think this has been a divisive conversation at all. I think it's been a very good conversation, and I enjoyed it a lot. And one more comment that I wanted to address was cut from a different cloth's comment, and he said that he's witnessed many black people in the UK and Africa talk about bad about black Americans, but you could say the same about any race of people in any ethnic group. You can't say, like, we can't use that as an excuse for us not to unite as a people because black Africans and black UK people and like black Americans talk bad about each other. Like you don't see what's it called, Polish people and Russians fighting wars on end just because they don't like each other. At the end of the day, if there was a race war right now, the Polish, the Ukrainians, the Russians, they would all be on one side. The Bulgarians, they wouldn't care. All of their the division between them would immediately settle overnight. Nothing would matter. It would be black against white. So this nonsense narrative about, oh, we can't join together because, you know, we see each other in different lights and we insult each other, it's just wrong. A lot of these insults and these conversations are being had online spaces. In real life, America gets a lot of love. Like, you know, I mean, you guys are on the world stage. You guys are the reserve currency, the world reserve currency. Everything revolves around America. I mean, you know, we're constantly seeing you guys news in our timeline. We have no reason to hate you guys. You know, we saw the massive oppression that you guys went through, and, you know, we see you as our brothers. So there's no reason for there to be any animosity between Black UK diaspora people, Black Africans, and Black Americans at all. So yeah, I just wanted to land the plane there. Thank you for inviting me to the panel, and, you know, this was a great conversation.
So a quick question for you then.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Didn't Joseph's brothers talk about him? Didn't they have a problem with him? But they were family. I'm like, you can't be cutting off the family just because one of your family members talking about you.
Absolutely, there are several instances in the Bible where family are beefing with each other. You have even Yahushua gave the what's it called, the prodigal son example. The parable. There you go, the parable. And, you know, even in the parables there would be family division. You know, it was throughout the Bible. You're like, it's a part of life. Family will always disagree with family. It's always going to happen. You know, the first stories of the Bible that we're giving is a family being broken up and Joseph being sold into slavery. So we cannot use these excuses. That's what I wanted to say. But yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you for coming on, Brother Dan. Appreciate it.
You. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Brother Robert, final comment?
Yeah, final comment is we need to stand on the word. The word is eternal, and it'll be here forever. Even if we don't make it out of Babylon, the word is going to follow us to the new land. So stand on the word. This is something that the FBA don't have as a word. They just invent or stealing somebody else's heritage and pulling this new, we've been here for 30,000 years crap out of their butt. So that's it in a nutshell. We have the word. They don't.
Yep.
Amen.
All right. Thank you, Brother Robert, for coming on. Appreciate it. Final comments, Lady J.
Well, and Brother Tay, you have every right to be angry, so don't worry about it. But I just want to say that, you know, Christ said that my brethren are those who does his Father's will and keeps the commandments. And so as a Black people, even though we might not know who are the snitches and the Judases, we will know through our fruits and through the word of God as to who we all are to each other. Because one thing I've experienced time and time again is that you always know another child of God when you meet them. And so, you know, all we can do is ask for God's protection for each other and try to love even those that are like him, as hard as it will be. And, you know, and I think also sometimes some of us, and I'm going to include myself, we can sometimes run the mouth too much. And that is one thing I'm learning to do, and to be very mindful as to what I say and how I say it and who I'm saying it about. And I just think that God will bring us all together and collect us as he says he will. But, you know, I just want to say this. Living in the UK, to all of you, I might sound very English, but to them, they know I wasn't raised here. And I do and have felt the racism against Black Americans, because in this country, they might act as though they love Americans, but inwardly they don't, because I've experienced it. And I would often ask the question, why is it that I'm treated this way? You know, and it was because of my American accent, because when I first came back here, it was very strong. But, you know, just know this. A lot of people do not know American history and what Black people went through and how you have suffered and how you have fought for the rights that we all have today, which includes the UK. So, you know, people need to give that respect to Black Americans, because we are all brethren at the day, whether we're West Indian, American, African, we are all brethren at the end of the day, because the first thing that the palm-colored folks see is what we look like. They don't think about, oh, they might have a good personality, they might be kind-hearted. No, they don't look at those things. So, you know, we all have to be mindful of each other. But I love you both, and I thank you very much for having me on. And just keep up the good work. And, you know, hopefully we will see each other in the wilderness.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on, Lady J. Appreciate it.
That's all right. Have a blessed night. Bye.
All right. You too. All right. So, Mr. Know-It-All, are you still there? I could put that link out there if you want to come on here, because not one of you FBAs came on this panel. Where you at?
I had put him on timeout, but he should be out of timeout, I guess. He could hear you though.
Yeah, I'll put that link back out there. You want to come on here and get some heat, right? All tribes got. Well, let me finish reading it. All tribes got to bow down to Judah, FBA. Swallow your pride and bow down. You guys are hostile. Hostile to you. To who? To you, raccoon. You know what? You people who want to call in other people and send people to concentration camps, is you stupid? You separating mommies and daddies and grandmas and grandpas and uncles for what? Because they're illegal immigrants? I'm not saying they're here legally. Yeah, they broke the law, but they're not hurting anything. As a matter of fact, they were helping the economy. But you want to send them people to concentration camps? They're not getting any food. They got the lights on 24/7. They can't get any sleep. Their toilets overflowing. Is you stupid? What pride? I'm going to tell you this. And then for you FBAs that want to kick out my Jamaican brothers, my Caribbean brothers and sisters, you want to kick out people who was one boat ride away from here because they came here legally, or they came here legally and Trump trying to kick them out. You want to send my people to concentration camps? Is you stupid? One thing I'm not going to deal with, and Minister tell you had a right to be angry with y'all because y'all ticked me off. Y'all know I want to say something else. But you want to send my family members, though they live on a Caribbean island, to concentration camps? Is you stupid? I'm not going to have it. What kind of fool are you? That's our family, you dumb piece of crap. All you FBAs. The Caribbean people, our family, you dumb piece of crap.
Is you stupid? I can't stand you people. Y'all selfish. You hateful. You sound like MAGA. You evil piece of crap.
That's who they sound like, MAGA. There you go.
Y'all might as well work for the oppressor, because you are. Don't come in acting like you for black folk this, black folk that. Or I'm just worried because they're going to take out stuff. Foundational Black America. Look, if you were living somewhere where they didn't have a good economy, your butt would have been here too. Don't even act like you wouldn't be. If you grew up in Haiti, don't act like you wouldn't be trying to come to America to get a better life, whether legal or illegal. You know you would. Y'all tick me the butt. Y'all tick me off. Y'all tick me off. Y'all, and half of y'all say y'all Christians, and then your other half are unbelievers. Y'all atheists, or y'all think y'all Native American Indians, or y'all think y'all Mormons. Y'all foolish. I'm not gonna have you putting my people in no concentration camp just because they grew up on the islands. I can't stand you people. Y'all evil. You're going to put other black folks who had to deal with slavery just like us, but they happen to be in Jamaica, they happen to be in Haiti, they happen to be in the Virgin Islands. Y'all want to put them in concentration camps because they're here illegally? It's you stupid. Minister Taylor was right to go off on y'all. I can't stand y'all. Y'all so freaking evil. Anyway, that's me. I had to let that out. Minister Taylor, any final comment?
Uh-oh. You trying to surpass me today.
Man, look, I'm sick of them, dude. I'm sick of them.
So look, Minister Jacob and I, what is it, like 8 years, 10 years, I guess 10 years of this stuff. And in those 10 years, we've gone back and forth with the Mormon Israelites and the Native American Indian Israelites and the camps, and showing them evidence, giving them history, giving them Bible, giving them all kind of receipts, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, which proves they're not interested in truth, right? So if they're not interested in truth, they're working an agenda of separation and confusion among our people, because what they do is deny the obvious, right? Now they have those of us who can't stay solid on facts, they got them wavering to and fro. So now we're Native American Hebrew Israelites. Tell me how that worked. How that worked? Oh, we were here before then, but we Judah. But how we Judah and we've been here 30,000 years? Oh, because America is Jerusalem now. You see the craziness? This is why over time, Jacob and I got tired of this, because bringing receipts didn't matter. They were pushing a narrative, and what was so sad, a lot of our people jumped on the bandwagon and started pushing the nonsense because grandma said you are Indian. Y'all don't even look at your DNA. Your DNA points you to Africa. Oh, that don't mean nothing. We still Native American Indians. Oh, the current Cherokee, they fake. We the Cherokee. What? Okay, how you became a Cherokee? And how is it they're fake, but they're the ones that are known as Cherokee and been here identified as Cherokee from the beginning? But now you're a Cherokee. Now they're the $5 Indian and you the real one. You see what I'm saying? This is not ignorance. This is an agenda. And what surprises me is a lot of our people are moving against us and against our people on the continent, so we won't reunite. That's the goal. Tariq Nasheed, Phil Scott, all of them, you know, Phil Scott talk about Africa and all of this while he's pushing Tariq Nasheed, like Tariq Nasheed is the new god of FBA. Every other word is FBA, Tariq. I'm like, why are you even going to the continent? You know what I'm saying? These guys are agents, right? Because they deny the obvious. And like I was telling you, it is gaslighting, right? And the worst thing about gaslighting is I could tell you your name is not your name. Oh, Sister Ashonda, that's not your name. What you mean that's not my name? I was born with that name. No, that's not your name. Why you say that's not my name? Because I know you came from this continent and they never called their people Ashonda, so you must be Diane. Well, I got a birth certificate. Well, you know, you can't trust the white man. He gave you that birth certificate. You see how it goes? This is what they do. You know, they play with your head, and they this gaslighting is a weapon, right? They're all agents, right? And this is why I don't like the camps. The camps call Africans Hamites, but at the same time say they were taken from West Africa. Make it make sense. The whole continent Hamite. So you telling me that your ancestors that are still on the continent are Hamites now? Because you can't tie your genetic ties back to anybody in West Africa anymore. So you labeling them Hamites, or is it because the camps have Native American Indian DNA? And maybe they're hiding the fact that they're not Israel, right? I know for a fact, after observing One West for years, they were put in place to shock us and prevent us from realizing that we are the Israelites, right? Because when you see them guys cursing you out and telling people they can't be saved and all of that, it starts to make sense. Their job is to confuse people and cause confrontation, to cause confusion and prevent our people from understanding what is obvious, right? If these One West people cannot even admit that the majority of West Africa is more than likely Israelites, which they don't do, they call them Hamites, but then they're going to call the Mexicans and Native American Indians Israelites. They're running game on us. Y'all be calling them our friends and stuff. They're not our friends. Yeah.
We got an FBA on here. Sergeant Murray.
Bring it.
Hello, Mr. Minister Teo, and to your brother. Thanks for having me on.
So you FBA?
I'm Black American, and I'm coming for. All I'm saying, you can put me in that category all you want. When you say FBI, I'm not sure if you're talking about necessarily being specifically against all other blacks globally. But I just want to get my position.
Well, can you define for us what you mean by that?
By Black American?
Yes.
Yeah. What do you believe?
What is your definition of Black American? What does it mean to you in your context?
It is Israelite, obviously descendant of slaves. Obviously, my generations go back to slave times in Georgia. So no, that's not the problem. That's not, and I don't think that would be my issue. I have followed both of you guys for quite some time, and I absolutely have no. I don't disagree on any of the premise of what you talk about what God is doing. The only part I would say is I think we're being a little dismissive when we talk about it from the standpoint of it's just Black Americans somehow, some way foiling the plan, God's plan here, not understanding and being totally against the rest of the diaspora when that's not necessarily the case. I think we can admit that there's some nasty stuff going on and needing to get cleared up by the Lord on all sides. But it seems like a lot of the smoke is for Black Americans. And I think that would be my only issue.
Let me ask you this. Did you listen to the guy who came on as pan-mulattoism? He says he's FBA.
Yes, sir, I did.
Do you agree with his stance?
I do not. No, I do not. No, I don't, sir. I don't.
Okay. So I don't think you're not FBA really then.
Well, let me add, Brandon. I know you're saying we're somehow blaming our people, Black Americans, which we're not.
I feel being kind of harsh towards Black Americans.
Well,
Absolutely.
no, we're not. I mean,
I
because
feel like you are.
hold on. Let me explain to you. So that statement is equivalent to saying all Africans are Hamites, right? And so that's blanketing every African on the continent. That doesn't make sense. What you're saying is, wait, let me finish. Let me finish. You're saying that we have a problem with our people. No, we don't. Our people right here listening to us. We have a problem with people who are called FBA, and we explained the reasons why we have a problem with them. So that's a small percentage of so-called African Americans or Black Americans today. So give me understanding as to why you think we have an issue with Black Americans when we have not labeled all Black Americans.
Well, I'll take it, give you from my standpoint. When I hear that you guys speak to us about the diaspora and how and what God's going to do when He brings us back together, and I absolutely believe everything. I absolutely do, 100%. But when I'm talking about the relationship, I also know when you talk about the wilderness and we talk about the other things that still have to come together, the Lord is going to have to need intervention, not only to get us out of here, but for us to even come together as a people, because there is some distinct differences. And those things still need to be worked out. And I think it's unfair for us to act as if Black Americans need to be the only understanding parties coming to the table to make this thing work. And it seems that way sometimes when I'm hearing two people that I very much respect and I follow. I hear it from the sentiment that Black Americans somehow think they're better when there's plenty of
No,
examples.
That is not the charge.
Hold on.
I mean,
you're hearing something totally different. We're talking about foundational Black Americans, not African Americans who happen to be foundational Black Americans.
We're talking about a group that's less than 1%.
Let me finish. Because technically, if you want to be technical about it, we are foundational Black Americans, right?
Yes, sir.
We are
Yes,
talking about those who sit under that category that identify with the belief system of Tariq Nasheed and Phil Scott as foundational Black Americans.
And I'll be honest with you, sir. I don't, you got to remember, first of all, it's 50, 60 million of us. We're going to have, there's going to be some that have different positions about our origin stories. And I don't believe in it. And honestly, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, the exodus is what matters. What you've talked about for a long time and us preparing for that as a people, wherever you are, is the most important thing to me. But I will say.
So what is your disagreement with us?
Yeah, that's my point.
Okay, I think
hold on. Look, let's be clear here. You're making accusations against us that's not clear. You're blanketing every Black person or Black American in America, and you're saying somehow we have an issue with them, and you have not properly made your case against us while you're pointing fingers and making accusations.
Okay, no, I'm not trying to. I apologize if that's how it's coming off, sir. First of all, you're an elder of mine, and I'm definitely not coming in that way. The only thing I'm saying is this, and maybe because this whole thing that's going on, besides the internet stuff, I've been around the world. I've gotten an opportunity to interact with my brothers, cousins from Africa and different places, and there definitely is an underlying tension. There is a problem that still needs to be rectified. And what I'm saying is, when I hear the conversation, it seems that some of the shift and some of the blame for the problems that may be existing, even though we know the Lord's going to work it out, it seems to be put on FBAs or Black Americans or whatever you want. It seems to be laid at their feet, like they need to be the one to lead it or something like that. And what I'm saying is, I feel like it's not enough blame or teaching going around to the diaspora, the whole diaspora, about it. It seems like all of the frustration is laid at the Black Americans' foot. That's just how.
But who's laying it at the foot of Black Americans? Because
So when we talk about that, there's some tension and some problems there. I don't know that I've heard you guys articulate that you do know that there is some nasty spirits and nasty things coming from other Blacks that are not American.
Well, look, I understand what you're saying. You're saying that there's a known conflict between some Africans from the continent and some African Americans, and that you think somehow we're being one-sided going against our people locally. We have never done that, right?
Okay, sir.
Well, the only things we have addressed is some of these gaslighting statements, like I mentioned, right? We have not taken a side, because I agree with you that there are problems with some of the things some Africans say and how some Africans look at our people. And those are the people who have come here and have been brainwashed by the Americans who told them don't interact with those people, don't interact with the African American because they're not good, right? That's what they were told to even come here and get a visa, right? We know that. But what you're saying, those things have never even been a topic. Why? Because we understand on both sides, we both got problems. What we're pushing for in that case is unity and awakening to understand that we need one another, right?
Yes,
but
sir.
when people start saying those Africans, you don't even have a relation to them, you're not African, you're from America, you were always from America, and America is Jerusalem. That kind of stuff, right?
No, I understand. Listen, I have no arguments with either one of the ministers about that. That's certainly not an issue of mine at all. Like I said, I've had the opportunity to interface. Being in the military for 12 years, I did 4 tours in Iraq. Obviously, I got the chance to be around the world, and in a lot of these different pockets where military are stationed, we do have a lot of African brothers and sisters who moved there for various reasons, and I'm not sitting there hating on that. That doesn't even matter. But I guess the point is there definitely is a tension there. There definitely is a nastiness there. There's definitely some things that the Lord needs to work out, and it's on both sides. And so I think
we agree with you. Yeah, but and we agree with you in that case, we are believing that the Most High is going to what? Bring the two sticks together. That's what we're praying for. We know we have problems. We're not going against African Americans like it's one-sided because they're going against Africans. What we're saying is the narrative that they're using is gaslighting. It doesn't even make sense, right? All of a sudden, Haitians are not from the same slave route, the transatlantic slave trade like us. All of a sudden, they're not our blood.
But in fairness too, sir, you guys are both incredibly, I've listened to y'all for years, and you guys are both incredibly intelligent men. And I'm from Miami, Florida. And I'm telling you right now, I've gotten the privilege, but also some pain being around some of our Haitian brothers because they definitely let you know that you ain't one of them. Okay, and that's the truth.
Yeah.
That regardless of what's told to them or what some white person told them that they need to think, the reality is when they get here and they still make educated decisions, they get degrees, they get businesses, they do have a lot of, they do well in a lot of different areas. They take care of their families in this country, even though it's outside of their homeland. But the reality is they certainly believe what is told to them by the white man. It's not about what.
Yeah, they don't know they're Israel. Those particular people.
Okay,
right?
That's fair. That's fair.
And they're coming here for opportunity, and they've been trained to believe that the African American is a problem, and that is during immigration hearings from the United States. I don't know if you've seen those videos. Literally, the American government tells them, "Don't mess with the African American."
So what do they tell them?
Them.
What do they tell them in other countries? Because I felt it when I've gone to other countries as well. It's not just in America.
Yeah, but here's the thing: it's not global. It's not every African doing this, and the problem is that look, the problem is that our people from the continent, when they go to other nations that are not, well, even in African nations, but when they go around the world, they're mistreated and disrespected around the globe. When the African American goes around to other nations, guess what? We're mistreated and disrespected around the globe, right? So we have the same problem, whether or not we really realize we're family, right? The Most High is the one that's going to unite us because there is a problem. I don't disagree with you, but what we're saying as far as we acknowledge who our family is, right? Our family comes from the continent, and that we want and need to be healed. Because I'm gonna tell you this: if the Negro and the Africans from Africa do not unite, we lose.
It's not going to happen, though. You know this, minister. That's not going to happen.
What I'm saying is, in the natural, I know what the prophecies say, right? But I'm saying in the natural, right, the way our enemies are moving against us, if we do not unite, I'm saying unity is the way we win. right? And now the Most High said he's going to bring us together, so we know it's going to happen. So given that we know the Most High said that he's going to make it happen, shouldn't we be trying to foster and encourage the unity with our brothers on the continent so that it can manifest? That's all we're doing.
So let me ask you a question, then, Minister, both of you, Minister, because I respect y'all, and I truly say that, and I can say that, saying that I'm African American. You can put me, I'm from here. We know there are some Black Americans who have definitely articulated that there maybe is some of the gifts that God gave. There's gifts everywhere, but Black Americans gifts, it could be, you could, whether you want to say it's because they were in America or whatever else, they have incredible gifts that has spanned globally. There has seemed to be a lot of jealousy about that. And what I'm saying is, besides the Lord getting involved, how do these things get resolved, even in the natural, if there is even a little bit of envy or jealousy on either side?
Well, I understand that. I mean, what happened was, it was really the FBAs that were pushing to the African nations the fact that we have done all these things, which is true, right? We are trendsetters. We are innovators, right? But bragging about it and implying that the Africans don't do those things, that's causing contention. Whereas,
so when there was times that Black Americans used to, when they came over, a lot of our African brothers and sisters from the Caribbean, because we the one that fought for them to get over here, whether it's a rights system or not, Black Americans fought to have others that look like us included into this economy, which they should. Okay, they all been taken from, and they deserve to share in all of the profits stolen from around the world. That's not the argument. But I will say this: when they get here on these lands that a lot of us are around, there is a level of you can't talk about your accomplishments, Black Americans, even though God is blessing y'all in the way He's blessing y'all with your own unique story. But if I get over here and get a degree, no, I'm Haitian. I ain't Black. I'm Haitian. I'm Jamaican.
Let me answer this, because when they're brought here, right, and it's not just Black immigrants or whatever. All immigrants come in with their own culture, right? And they identify with their culture. It don't matter. I'm Italian, I'm Swedish, I'm Irish, right? So some say I'm Haitian, I'm from the Virgin Islands. They don't identify as Black, because Black, quote unquote, is our culture. It is African American. So you can't expect them to identify with that because their culture is different, right?
So, I heard. Sorry, go ahead. So I heard even one of the African YouTube people. She said she's been raised as a Nigerian. She didn't even know there was such a thing as Black versus white. Why? Because her culture, she's a Nigerian, somebody's a Senegalese, somebody's a Ghanaian. There was no concept of black and white. Black and white was created by our enemies, and they used it as a caste system against us, right? So when they come over here, they're like, what is this black and white thing? I'm Nigerian. I don't get it. Because they haven't been impacted by what the white man has done to us for 400 years. See, we know what it feels like to be called, Black versus white. They created that narrative. And so we get it. We know how offensive, the Europeans can be using those racial terms. But they are. Yeah, but they are experiencing.
Hold on one sec, y'all. Hold on one sec. So I want to get to Mr. Know-It-All, because he's an FBA guy. I want to hear his point.
I stepped down. Thank y'all for having me, sir.
All right. Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate it.
Sir.
Minister Know-It-All. You got to unmute yourself. Did you step away? Mr. Know-It-All. All right. Well, we'll come back to you. Let me know when you're back. Minister Rick.
Yes.
He dropped. There we go.
Can you hear me? I've been following a lot of these FBA channels, and I agree with some of the things they're saying. I think we're just not looking at the entire concept. Yakova touched upon it. This is the capital of racism, the racial caste system. This is see, a lot of these people, they lived under the claws of the beast. We live in the belly of the beast.
Yeah.
And they have no understanding of that. This is the place where when Hitler wanted to marginalize the Jews, he came over here and sent people here to study Jim Crow. And
Exactly.
he said, okay, well, how are we going to differentiate the Jews? Well, we differentiate black. If they got one drop of black blood, they're black. Hitler said, oh, no, we can't do that.
Yeah, and they studied the eugenics program from us.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm saying these people, see, we're in the caste and they live in a different paradigm than we do. See, there's a unit tribe and there's the opposition tribe. We are the opposition tribe. See, you have to understand when white people came to America, I'm Italian, I'm ethnic. Oh, hell no, you're not. They tell them, no, you're not. You're white. And you're so-and-so. So they have to strip off their ethnicity to become in part of this. And they fight to get this white designation. And that's the thing. And so they're all united in that against us here. So when immigrants come here thinking that they're going to claim their national and not understanding, no matter what they claim and no matter their culture, they are wearing the uniform of the opposition tribe. And it may take them a generation being born here to realize, or their children think like, well, I'm just a person like any other person, and they get killed on the street, or one of these race soldiers gets them, or they get, and then there's this profound hate like they never dealt with it. Now, granted, they were in many nations that still were minority, they were colonized, but they still were minority blacks. So they also had, even in the Caribbean, they were able to reestablish ethnicity there, being a majority. We've had to put our culture together off of whole cloth. And to our credit, coast to coast, we can unify better than any former Africans in America across the country. Now, that's the envy of the world as far as black people concerned, where an uprising can start in Frisco and all the way in New York. So this country we are still, and you said, we're still in the land of our captivity, and we still are feared for slave insurrections. So they tell these immigrants, don't be like them, because we are insurrectionists. So when you've been in war,
so let me ask you this, Minister Rick, because I'm a bit confused. Are you on the side of the FBA in terms of that, the immigrants shouldn't be here, or are you saying that?
No, I'm not on their side. I'm on the side of understanding that I'm on the side of the Most High, who says he's bringing the two sticks together. And we're dealing against a force that's dividing, conquer. We're coming against Rome, which has always been divide and conquer, divide and rule. So you don't give Rome ammunition to divide and conquer. It's just like in the old days when we were telling them, they were all over there with tires and they were saying stuff about us. It's just on a more sophisticated level. Also through the visa departments, they're not giving a visa to Ibrahim Traore to come over here.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, Minister Rick. So did you see the show from the beginning?
No, I did not. So I can't comment on that.
Okay.
I'm just trying to. Okay.
Well, I want to ask you a question because let's see. Oh, Minister Know It All. I'm gonna put the link back out there. You could come back on. I was trying to get you. You dropped out. So here's the link. Oh, nobody else, just Mr. Know It All. All right. So my question to you is this. Okay, based upon at least in the video that we had earlier of this particular foundational Black American, he says he calls the ICE agents on the immigrants. He didn't say just the Hispanic immigrants. He said on the immigrants. So that means it's any immigrant, Haitian immigrants.
Oh, he admitted he calls on the Haitians too. He said that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I would not condone that and would not do that. Let Babylon do their job. That's what they want to do. A lot of this, the psyop behind a lot of that is they want to bind us to Babylon, say we have no connection with the continent, and bind us to a sinking ship. Martin Luther King said after in integration, he said, "I feel I may have integrated my people into a burning house."
To a burning house.
Well,
yeah.
Allah. So now they're trying to keep us. They're trying to keep us in the burning house, and these people are immigrating into a burning house. If it was any time, the wrong time to immigrate.
So, Minister Rick, let me put you on pause because I got Minister Know It All back. I mean, Mr. Know It All. He's
one
FBA.
comment, I want to Yacoba. One quick comment.
Okay.
I just want to say, as far as the Africans, not black versus Negro.
Hello.
The average
Hello.
age of
Yeah,
please.
give minutes to tell you 1 minute, and we'll be right to you, Mr. Know-It-All.
The average age on the continent of Africa is 19. To expect the people on the continent to know the difference about black and white and what we've gone through, ask anybody who's been on the continent that's on here now. Did the people on the continent even know our history? If they didn't know our history, then why would the term black mean anything to them when they know that they are a Nigerian? They know they are a Ghanaian. They don't even know they are a Negro. Why? Because that Negro term came from Europe. I'm done.
I believe our young people are on the same page as those.
So hold on, Minister Rick, hold on. I gotta get Mr. Know-It-All on. Mr. Know-It-All.
Okay. Hey, what's going on?
All right. So you FBA, right?
What'd you say?
Are you FBA?
Yeah.
Tell me what that means to you.
Foundation of Black America means you can trace your family back to the 1870 census in the United States. It's a bloodline.
Okay, so in terms of your political beliefs about this whole migration issue, what's your thoughts?
I think everybody should go back to their country and build it up.
But let me ask you this: I don't know if you saw the video in the beginning. One particular guy who claims to be a Foundation of Black America says he reports migrants to the ICE.
He turns in Haitians as well to ICE.
Yeah. No, I don't. No, I wouldn't do that. But it's 43. It's 43 million Foundation of Black Americans. So some of them could be Muslims, some of them could be Christians, some of them could be Israelites, some of them could be overseas, some of them could be in the States. I mean, everybody doing different things. So it's 43 million Foundation of Black Americans, and everybody don't do the same thing. Some of them Sambos, some of them are riders, some of them, So you Foundation of Black Americans are not a monolith.
I agree with that. So let me ask you this:
how does FBA differ from ADOS, American Descendants of Slaves?
Well, American Descendants of Slaves is an organization. FBA is a lineage.
No, I mean as far as an identifier, right? Because FBA is nothing but an identifier. American Descendants of Slaves.
That's the difference. ADOS is an organization that you can sign up for and go put in some paperwork, fill out an application. FBA, you just born FBA. It's nothing you can do about it.
I'm talking about the terminology. I'm talking about the term, right? So I'm asking you, is FBA a descendant of a slave? Yes or no?
Well, FBA go into more detail. ADOS, that can be anybody in the Americas. Okay. It can be that term can be co-opted. FBA cannot be co-opted. ADOS, a Chino slave from Mexico can say he ADOS.
Isn't FBA always a descendant of a slave in America?
FBA, no, because you had freedmen. Like you had maroon colonies, and so you had maroon babies that
That's
never
Jamaica.
seen. You had this is in America. You had maroon babies that never seen slavery in America, and it's a misconception that in the South there were plenty of areas where white people couldn't go during slavery. It was many of areas in the South the U.S. government can go. Every time the U.S. government tried to go in, they got defeated. It was like 6 or 7 places. One was in New Orleans, one was in Georgia, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Mississippi, New Orleans. I think I said New Orleans. But it was places in the South where white people couldn't go at no point during slavery. They never went in those areas. And people don't know that.
No, the only ones that they weren't able to go into is the Seminole Indians, who were descendants of Negro slaves, and the Cherokee, who was in the swamp. That was the only
Blackfoot.
You had the Great Dismal Swamp. You had the Great Dismal Swamp.
Feel free to send us information on that because
you can Google it. You can Google it now. It's Great Dismal Swamp.
There's no way that Negroes could stand against the United States government.
They did. They did. You can Google it. You ask AI, ChatGPT.
The United States government had a law that Negroes were not human, or 3/5
human.
It is
public knowledge. This is public knowledge that in the South, it was places white people couldn't go. ChatGPT, Google it, ask whatever you got to do. You can go on the internet. It's gonna pull right up.
You gonna send it to me, right? Send it to my email because
just type in the Great Dismal Swamp. And type in the Savannah Marsh Swamp. Type in the Okefenokee Swamp. Type in the.
I mentioned the swamps.
Type in the one in New Orleans. Resistance groups. That was not that the white man could not go.
Those were maroon colonies.
It was that the Seminoles had a resistance group that stood against the white man, and the white man could not fully conquer them.
It was maroon colonies all over the South.
You making it sound like there's a legislation that said, white men, you don't go here. No, they will.
Yes.
Whatever, man. No, indeed.
Yes, you got to look it up, brother. I'm telling you, my brother. I'm telling you. Once you look it up, you're gonna say he sure was right.
I'm not gonna look it up. You're gonna send it to me because I want you to.
I don't know how would I send it to you?
You could paste it right here in the comments.
Man, I'm not that computer savvy.
Okay.
But you can look up what I'm saying.
Okay,
well,
so
how can I look it up if you can't look it up?
Hold on.
Did you not look it up?
Yes, I did.
Well,
so here's the deal. Hold on. All right, so some swamps like the Great Dismal Swamp between Virginia and North Carolina, the Okefenokee Swamp in Georgia, and parts of Mississippi Delta were home to Maroons, enslaved Africans who escaped and built hidden communities in remote areas. We never denied that. These areas were dangerous for slave catchers and patrols because they were unfamiliar with the terrain. Maroons defended their freedom fiercely. The environment was treacherous, full of alligators, snakes, quick mud, and thick vegetation. All right. So I said, did the white man invade those
government couldn't even get in there and beat them?
No, that's not true.
Government never got in and won.
No, you just said that there was a law that said white man.
Hold on. Did the white man invade those territories? Yes, but not
he tried. He lost every time.
Let me finish. Yes, but not without resistance and not always successfully. White authorities did try to invade those swamp territories, especially when they suspected escaped slaves were hiding there or maroon communities had grown too bold. However, the invasions were often dangerous, costly, and not always effective. All right. So, I mean, I agree that they've invaded those
all over the South. They had areas like that all over the South. The Underground Railroad. Listen, the Underground Railroad led to those swamps. Each one of those swamps was the Underground Railroad.
Wait, hold on. I already said that they had the swamps. What you said was that there was a law that white man couldn't go there. No, the white men went there. They just didn't win. They didn't.
I'm saying the law of the land. The Maroons' law was they can't come. The Maroons laid down their law.
Well, yeah, but when the white man came, they fought. That's the point. There was no what Minister Taylor was saying was that there's no white law that white man couldn't go there, other than the Maroons saying, "If you come here, we're gonna kill you."
It was Maroon law.
You were making it sound like there was a whole other nation living there, and like Mexico. That's not what that was.
It was Maroon law. Whatever the Maroons say go. Can't no white people step foot on this soil. They can't do it, and if they do, they gonna have to fight.
But that's the thing that did happen. That's our point. They did try to invade, and they did fight.
So when you say our FBA, so when you go back to the point, you say our FBA all descendants of slaves. No, because you had Maroons that were never enslaved.
Okay, prove to me that Maroons were never former slaves.
Because they had children. Because they had children.
Why they were hiding in the swamp then?
They had children in the Maroon colony, which means the child never stayed in slavery.
Why were they in the swamps?
Because that was their colony.
Because they were descendants of slaves. Therefore,
they were descendants of slaves. But you said
let me finish. They were descendants of slaves. And if you look at it from the viewpoint of America, that means they were slaves, not that they had bondage themselves because they were free, because they were in the swamp. But also you had free, quote unquote, black people in Americas who were part of what you call Moors. You had some of the Moors here who were Negroes, who were Israelites. We document this, who were free people of color. Right. So we know all of this. My whole point is, I think you're taking the idea that there were some people who were in the swamp because they lived in their own community in the swamp, that they weren't slaves because they were there. I mean, technically, I get your point that because they were living in the swamp, those particular children didn't get enslaved unless they got conquered. Right. But at the same time, their parents were enslaved. So they were descendants of slaves. So I really don't know what the point is in making
some of them, not even their parents. Sometimes it was just their grandparents were enslaved, but the parents and the grandchildren never seen slavery.
I give you that, but they're descendants of slaves like we are.
Yes.
Okay, but that's no different status than we are. We all descendants of slaves.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't. Okay, all right. So let's move on. Christopher been waiting. Christopher Corner, thank you, Mr. Know-It-All.
You're welcome.
Hey, shalom, everybody.
How's it going?
Shalom, twins. All right. So my take on the whole FBA thing isn't so adversarial or even controversial. It was the standpoint of the initial onset when we, as a people, Black Americans in general, had to start to delineate ourselves from other quote unquote Negroes or Blacks that came into this country, and they go into our neighborhoods pretending to be us, and they grow up, and then the system, the Babylonian system that we live in, would raise those people up. So you have your Joy Reids and your Obamas making policies or trying to get us because we're the same skin color. They try to get us to agree to their liberalized, twisted-minded, family hostile policies with respect to politics. Now, me personally, I don't deal with politics at all because I know what time it is. I know we're in Mystery Babylon. I know that this is not our homeland, but we have to understand that there's a divide or a wedge being drawn between those of us that are awake and those of us that have family members who are still asleep, who are still supporting the system. So we get flack from our family members when they say, well, how come you ain't vote this way? Or how come you didn't listen to her? Like your George Reids and all them, they don't grow up here. It's not to say that we're going to discount them because they didn't grow up here, but it's the trick of the tools that are being used by our enemies to garner support for us to start following them. So you had your Joy Reids out there whose agenda was very liberal, anti-man, anti-family, and you have a lot of those type of people out there. So from that standpoint, and from the standpoint of us trying to get at least the conversation going about reparations, because for me, that's a segue into Genesis chapter 15. Brother mentioned earlier about leaving out with great substance. So for me, that's a starter. It's a segue for me to communicate that to my family members who are not well versed in the scriptures. But so we have to be able to delineate, because when you say reparations, the first thing that they're going to say is what? We supposed to give Michael Jordan reparations? Are we supposed to give someone from Haiti or from Haiti? They come over here? Are they supposed to be just because they're Black?
Let me ask you this question, because I agree with the position that the FBAs have on reparations. I have no argument about that, right? Because that is for descendants of slaves in America from the American government. Now, as we were talking about earlier in the show, this other person talking about how he's sending ICE after Haitians and after people from the islands and different people who are immigrants, whether illegal or not. He says if they sound foreign, he's calling ICE on them. Now, what is the FBA position on that? Because that's what I have a problem with. I don't have a problem with their position on reparation.
Okay, so here's the thing. Originally, that's the FBA standpoint was about delineation for social economic
Yeah,
issues dealing with our people.
I
Somehow,
agree.
between when it started to now, since say Obama been in office up to now, it's somehow been monstrosized into this thing where you want to, like, the enemy is using this thing now to divide us even further, when it
Can
wasn't
I?
designed to be a divider. It was designed to be a delineation with respect to social economic ideologies and things that we need. Because think about it, our people are in this country are broken. A lot of our people have people in our family members that were crack addicts and so forth, or we were exposed to that, damaging our families in the early 80s. We can't say the same for other racial groups or other blacks who comes into this country, have a strong family ties, have their own cultural, and we don't have anything. So those issues that we may want to redress with the government, those of us that are political, again, I'm not, but those of us that are political, we would have certain issues to be raised, but we always have our issues always have to take a back seat to the whole aggregate total of all blacks, and it doesn't reflect what their desires are or what their interests are or their needs for that matter. So as long as that, if they
So,
keep putting us in this one big block, America can move all of us in one direction, which will
so
benefit
let
those
me
few
ask you
blacks who are
this.
coming here to disregard all of
Can
us.
I answer you, Minister?
So hold on. Let me ask him a question.
Yes,
So
sir.
I would classify you, Christopher, as a traditionalist when it comes to being foundational Black America or FBA, right?
Correct.
Not with this modern diversion from the foundational principles. Now, my question to you would be this: what is your view on us and connecting with the African continent? Because that's another issue I have with the modern so-called FBA people. They want to cut off our connection to the African continent. What's your position?
Okay, my position is that Judah is the one's been scattered to the four corners of the earth, where primarily the northern tribes remain inside of Africa. I can't speak for every last single person in the continent of Africa being part of our people, but I would say that a large number of them are with us. But it doesn't change the fact that Judah has to be raised first.
Oh, I
So
agree
we
with that.
can't.
I don't
So
have a
the
problem with
scripture
that.
says, right. So the scripture's not going to allow. Scripture says that Yah's not going to let them magnify themselves over us. So
But you know, there are
we got
still
to be
Judah on the
we
continent, right? There's still Judah on the continent.
yeah. What yes, I can say that they are, because we're in the age where we can move to and fro, right? But
I'm
in
just
terms
saying
of
there's Judah on the continent that never went into captivity. They were captives on the continent, not captives in the diaspora, right? So there are still Judah there, and yes, there are the northern tribes on the continent as well.
okay, well, if there are Judas there, far be for me to argue against that. I don't know enough to know that if they are there in massive numbers like it is here in the continent. I mean, not in the continent,
Oh
in
yeah,
the United
yeah.
States
And look,
or in the
I mean,
Caribbean, right?
think of it
But
logically. Every single Judean was not scattered to the four corners, right? There was always some stragglers left behind, right? It's
right,
just a major part of us was scattered to the four corners.
Brother
right. And
Yacoba.
what I'm saying
Okay.
is that hold on a second. From my standpoint, with respect to the second Exodus, which is the gathering of all of Israel from the four corners of the earth, from in Africa and outside of Africa, wherever that
Correct.
location is supposed to be. I believe that there's going to be a separation line of people, of Judeans that are in the land that we refer to as the United States today. We have to get out of her. She will be destroyed. We're going to go somewhere else, which the Bible refers to as the wilderness among the people. And we don't know how long that time period is going to be. And then when Yah decides, he's going to take all of us and put us in a physical wilderness prepared for us, according to Revelation chapter 12, and that we will be prepared by the angels. We'll be there for 3.5 years. But again, so if those of us have the means to flee and go to Africa and make alliances or make connections over there, and the spirit's leading to, I have no problem with that. But I got to be honest.
Okay.
A lot of the issues that we are having and I'm hearing it today in this very video and the one from Shauna at Large a little bit earlier today. A lot of the deception that the enemy has put on our people that are coming into this country, a lot of them are going back telling them what they've been taught. So when we go over there, it exposes us to a higher level of risk. So we're targets over there. If we go by ourselves, we're at risk from being finagled. We are at risk of being bamboozled, because from their mindset, we're mixed. We're diluted with white people, or we're a bunch of criminals. So they have no qualms about taking our wealth from us. If we try to go over there and build something, they could just take it from us, and they could reason in their own mind because of what they believe and what they heard.
Well,
So
there's
that's
a ton
really
of Africans. There's a ton of Africans on YouTube right now, sharing the truth, understanding our history, and breaking that misunderstanding. Right. So it's not like many of them on the continent will move against us. They wouldn't move against us because a lot of them
what he's
understand.
saying is, I think what he's saying is, and I sort of agree with him, sort of like what we saw in what is that? The place where those women died, right? That they went by themselves, they got killed, right? Because they saw them as a
Gambia, right?
Gambia, And so when we do go back, I agree with him. I do think we should move as a group, right? If we can, right? That is sort of dangerous to move individually.
I'm gonna tell you,
right?
if they were local women who had money and no male covering, it would have happened anyway.
Oh yeah,
it could be, but what I'm looking at is that overall, okay, like I said, unless you are being led to move to a specific country within that continent, it's not recommended, because I believe that the people at large in the continent of Africa are not ready for wholesale migration of our people to there, because it's too much.
I can't argue with you. On that. Minister Rick wanted to say something, then we're going to Rojo.
Yes. The thing I wanted to say is I talked to one of these major, because I'll go on, they'll say one of these call-in shows. I'll go on and actually question the host. And I asked him, what did you think of Ibrahim Traore? And among the FBA community, there's universal praise of Ibrahim Traore. See, to them, that's the model. Fight for your own country. Why come over here on the Babylon okie doke and think to grab some of Babylon's, drink the Kool-Aid or the wine of Babylon, and when you have a whole country, and from their standpoint, here, we've been a minority group here. You are the majority there. So in fighting, so there's great admiration of him. But the thing is, the State Department is not giving a visa to Ibrahim Traore. And what they have attempted to do is create another buffer class of house Negroes by how they vet people who actually immigrate over. Now, granted, there's some who came in as refugees and economic and whatever, and came over the border and things like that. But the people that they were able to vet and bring in. So what I'm saying to you is that I agree. Africa is not ready to receive large numbers of African Americans. And there's a process going on. The mountains of Israel are preparing for us. See that the young people in Africa, you said the average age is 19, they're rising up. They've got to get the coons out of Africa, and we got to deal with the coons over here. And a lot of the people they send over here, the FBI, are the coons. We get Afro-coons here to a large amount, the ones they send. I'm not talking about the ones that escaped and got over the border and came in, illegals. I'm talking about the legal ones that they were able to vet and bring over here. And there have been people that they promoted in the society in our communities. And this has created this problem. I live in Chicago. When Black people have been suffering, now this is how they picked up a lot of steam. All this money was available. See, this was a psyop. This was a plan. Untold money were given to people, and we're here fighting. And a lot of immigrants are not coming. Now, I support, if you're melanated, you're African descent, I hire African immigrants. I give money. I see these sisters were from Venezuela, Afro Latinas. They're out there with their children. We must give them about $80. They're on the corner. So I support that. But I also see the plan, and see we can't be on the checkerboard of them. We got to playing chess. A lot of FBA see the okie doke that's being played. Now, God on a much higher level, I believe that when we talk about going to Africa, I don't believe it's now or close. It's not ready. That group of 19-year-olds got to rise up and throw them coons up to get that together, just like we have to do our work here. There's some work to do here. But the one thing that the FBA's claim that I do not agree, a lot of FBI's want to make America, and this is the psyop, America's my ride or die. No, it's not my ride or die. I'm out of here on a first thing smoking, when the because this is not the land of my nativity. All these false religions that rise
Absolutely.
up in there, this is the land of my captivity. And the fact that we have been in continuous war since we've been here, and a lot of the problem with the immigrants is they don't want to get in the battle. They don't want to put on a uniform and fight in the war here. They just come here. I just come here to get in with Babylon, just like everybody else comes as an immigrant.
That's
And
true.
a lot of FBA has a problem with it. And it's only till they realize, hey, you're wearing the enemy uniform, and I'm wearing the enemy uniform, and they're shooting at me. And they say, well, what about this? I say, wait a minute, you were Colombian last week, or you were Dominican last week. So I'm just saying, we have our work to do to bring the people together. We have, the Most High has us bringing the two sticks together. A lot of it is they want to keep us out of Africa. They got to separate us from Africa. This place is nothing here, and they got to separate. So I land my plane there. It's all a psyop. Listen to the signal, forget the noise, but don't get emotional and mad at these people, because they do. The FBAs do have a reason for grievance on some of the things, but you're deeper than that, and we can't get caught into the mess. But these are some of the reasons I got on to try and let you understand. These are some of the reasons why this stuff even arose, and some people manipulated it on the behalf of the agents.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a problem with anything you said just now, Mr. Rick. Brother Rojo, welcome.
Amen, brother.
Hey, thank you. Long time no talk to.
Yeah, look, let me ask you that. Rojo, where you been, man?
man, let me tell you, I've been working my took off, and then, I had a loss in my family. I lost a child. So,
sorry
I
to hear
mean, no, hey, it's, all in the Most High's plans. I mean, but I mean, I've still been keeping, in touch with you and Karis, listen to y'all's playbacks and everything. And it's so much stuff going on right now. I would be here till 5 a.m. going through it all. But just to explain, just to give you some insight, because you know me, we've been dealing with each other for at least 4 or 5 years. And I have been one of the first ones to actually put an FBA banner on my sleeve. And when I say that, I don't say that to sound divisive. I mean, I'll just go ahead and just give you my take on it. And if anyone has any push back against me, I'm fine with it, because I don't really fight with my brothers and sisters like that. But twins, Yacoba, do you remember the girl Rhoda down in Houston that I think she was Somalian, who put that saline solution on her face, wrapped her face tight, put on a mask, and it caused displacement and swelling. And then she took it off, claiming that an N-word, a brother, smacked her with a brick because she rejected his advances. And if you listen to that video and you hear the background, the people talking, the men talking, they all have accents like they're from West Africa or East Africa, but that was put on the show. That whole situation was put on the shoulders of FBA, especially the men. They came hard after the FBA men, even other FBA sisters talking about, we're glad that the police do what they do to y'all. We're glad that you have the O block killing the B block in Chicago. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Strike that word. But, doing up B block in Chicago, y'all are some sorry, MFs and all that kind of stuff, because it was what we tend to refer to as a tether. And when I say that word, being a Black immigrant doesn't make you a tether, but all Black immigrants, not all, but all tethers are Black immigrants. And if you just kind of disaggregate that, you'll know what I mean when I say that.
So I think that it's just drawing a line between us and between the immigrant class, because a lot of them will come over here and they will mask them. They'll use our lineage over here as a dumping ground. They will come over here with 5 degrees, Teo, and talk about how they are so great. They opened up a business, a restaurant, the IT person. But whenever they have people, going around essaying women, touching on children or doing stuff like that, all of a sudden they are no longer what flag they're bearing. All of a sudden they're just black. We're all black, brother. So I don't think us delineating is coming from a space of hate. It's just coming from a space of straightening everything out. And I even got into a debate with a foreign, someone within the diaspora on TikTok, and they read my not TikTok, X. They read my bio and said, "You're an Israelite. How can you say this and cause division between your own brothers?" So I said, okay, well then, since you brought it up, since you brought my heritage into this, and if you read my bio will always say, I am Hebrew by nationality, Israelite by blood, FBA by way of transatlantic slave trade. That's what's on my bio. And then when I got into it with him, I said, now let's open up these Bibles, because you introduced that into the debate. So let's open up these Bibles. Let's go to Leviticus, which talks about, stealing from one's brother, and how that is handled very harshly and looked at, found down upon by the Most High. Okay, do you want to play the New Testament game? Let's go to John 10:1 about entering into the sheep's fold, not through the front door, but climbing over the fence or going into the back gate, to steal from your brother. Or let's go to Thessalonians. So he kind of got sunned in that debate. He called me all kinds of names and threatened me. And it wasn't even me coming from a place of hate. I'm just saying that, look, you're coming to Babylon. You're coming to a place that we ultimately want to get out of. And you're coming here to, get in lockstep with our oppressor and stand, put more weight on our necks. But to the twins, to you and Jacob and Teo, if y'all notice, ever since November 24th, and no, I didn't participate in any election. I just withdrew, and a lot of us withdrew our energy and our spirit from it. And you see what's going on now. So, as far as if I'm going to call ICE on one of my brothers, to me, that would be tantamount to, OIHC calling the police on me, because you know what that means, that typically don't end well.
Yeah.
I don't think I would do that, but I would definitely, check my brothers and sisters within the diaspora and let them know that, hey, if you come over here as an ally, because what you don't want us to do is to be stark neutral, and you don't want us as an enemy. Just like that dude said on if loving you is wrong, or the haves and have not, I'm a great friend, but I'm an even better enemy. And they don't want to see that side of us, and I don't want to show that side of us. So I think as far as that goes, we don't have any problems with immigrants. And as far as like Abraham Traore, we absolutely love him. Chadwick Boseman, peace be up on him. May he rest in power. We loved him. And there are other, Winnie Mandela. She is like up there with Harriet Tubman, in the eyes of a lot of us. So no, we don't have.
So Rojo, let me ask you this question.
Uh-huh.
If you had to summarize what you think FBAs believe, could you do that?
Yeah. As far as, are you talking about me individually or just us as a group?
I'm just saying, because it seems to me like, at least right now, we got a bunch of banished people who are FBA, which to me, y'all are traditional FBAs. Whereas, I think Tariq is extreme, and I think because he's anti-Africa, seemed to me. And then it's the same with that guy, who was pan mulattoism on a Shonda show. He was super extreme, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
so
Right.
like for instance, I mean, listening to you, Minister Rick, Christopher, and Brandon, y'all don't seem to be on that extreme end of FBA, right? And so my question then would be, is the issue between the FBAs and those who are not FBA, who are, you know, Israelites? Is it the attitudes that they have when they come here, and you know they think that we're lazy, and you know they take our jobs and all that kind of stuff? Is that, I would assume,
So,
that's like the problem you all have, right?
so
I
let me
mean,
say this right quick.
no,
My,
you're right.
so let me say this
You
right quick,
oh,
real
I'm sorry.
quick.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Taylor.
Yeah. So FBA to me, right? If you listen to the term foundational Black America, it basically implies that the Negro is claiming ownership of Babylon, that this belongs to him. He wants to be part of it. He wants to control it. He wants to run it. And that's how Nasheed, that's how he
Tariq,
coined
yeah.
Tariq coined the term himself, FBA. He created it, right? And he coined
Well,
the term saying,
Dr. Claude Anderson did too, though. But
That's the
prior to that,
I think it started with Tariq, didn't it?
no,
That's
it's
the
Dr.
psyop.
Claude Anderson. Dr.
Dr.
Claude
Claude.
Anderson.
No,
Okay.
Taylor, it started with Tariq. It's FBA started with Tariq Nasheed, Foundation of
Yeah.
Black Americans, and that's
He
why.
said he got it from. He said he got it from Dr. Claude Anderson.
No. Actually, what they all got from Dr. Claude Anderson was Dr. Claude Anderson got from, I forget his name, who used descendants of American slaves, and that's where that organization, not lineage, that organization ADOS come from, with the whole. I won't say their names, but y'all know who they are. But no, like, and I guess that's the difference, because if you, well, I won't say if you notice, because I guess y'all haven't been seeing me post a lot, but I'm kind of pivoting away from FBA and going to now FF, which is Foundational Freedmen, because you're right, you're right, Minister Tayu. It I mean, and I think that's the kind of time Tariq is on, where he wants to take control of America and the resources and be planted here, which is biblical. It is not part of the Most High's plan, at least not for us. So, I mean, and yeah, and I guess I'm answering your question, Brother Yakoba, that not on Tariq time, because you're right, he is very. I mean, we're gatekeeping, but not to the point to where if someone's going to come in peace and they sincerely want to learn, that we're not going to humble ourselves and sit down and talk to them and try to educate them. And I got that from Brother Karras, when he told me, "Hey, Rojo, I understand where you're going with your lineage and with the whole set, the dividing line. But brother, you're still dealing with Israelites. You're still dealing with your people. You have to be more humble." So I take his advice to heart when I do that. And as
We
far as people,
we are
but
Can
not.
I answer?
I don't think it's not MAGA. We have every FBA needs an exit strategy, and the Most High has an exit strategy for us to get out of here. We're the people. That's the whole thing. When we talk about Israel, that's the nation. The nation is the people, and trying to bind us to this nation state of Babylon, I'm absolutely against that. I mean, ultimately, some of them FBAs, they're the ones that are going to be leaving here weeping. You know,
Yeah,
we are happy to get up out of here because the Most High said you're going. Now, they may have
yeah,
to get purged out in the wilderness, but we up out of here by volition
yeah.
or permission. We're getting up out of here because the Most High, see, because it ain't even about us. It's about His word, what He says, His name. He's got he put His word on this thing, and He's going to uphold His name. So I'm not talking. I believe the unity, but anybody who comes here as an immigrant must understand we have been at war since the first African slaves were brought here. We have been at war since 1619. We have been at war, and you come in the war, the battleground. You can't. There's a line from the Godfather: "Never take sides with the enemy against the family. Never take
That's it.
sides
That's
outside
it.
against the family. We're the family.
Thank
Those
you.
that come in here acting like they're going to take sides with our oppressors against the family. That started a lot of this
Yeah,
delineation stuff. Because they came in here trying to get the come up of the whiteness or become the new house Negroes and do that. and those were vetted, and they brought coons. They gave visas to coons, and tried to elevate them with our society as a thing, and that was the pushback. Now, some extremists caught that and tried to spin that divide and conquer to separate us from Africa. But no person of any saneness is trying to separate themselves with the richest continent on earth, where our land is, where we have to get to. But the bottom line, I'll land my plane here. We need
Minister
work
Rick,
over here, and Africa
Minister
needs
Rick,
work.
thank you so much for saying what you said, Minister Rick. That's 100%. Never go against family, right? Don't go against the Haitians. Don't go against the Islanders. Don't go against the Jamaicans. Don't go against the FBAs, right? We family, right? And so like that guy that was on Sister Shonda's show, he didn't irk me the wrong way, and obviously he irked Minister Teo because he didn't went off on him, right? But this is reasonable conversation right here, right? This is sound conversation from FBAs. I could work with this one, right? I could work with this one because guess what? Them folks, they always on code, right? We best always be on code. I'm never turning against my folks unless you do some evil stuff, right? If you do some evil stuff, then I ain't with you. So look, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get a final comment. Let's go to you, Brandon. Final comment.
Minister, sorry, I didn't mean to disrespect any of the brothers, elders that were speaking before me. I didn't mean to interrupt, so I apologize. But I was just going to say, when you asked what brought this on to me, and I think you talked about birthing pains. I think a lot of it's about resources. We see a lot of Black American creations, the things that God has done through Black Americans. People are trying to appropriate and say we made it. Not that that really matters, but what it lets me know is there's a fight for resources, and I think that's what a lot of the problems are. Is the resource? Even though we are all going to be, we're going to go where God is taking us. We already know where that is, and that's where our people are going. Whether they skip, they crying. Got to get spanked to get out of here, or are they get out of here purposefully? The bottom line is these are some of the things that I think will still be a challenge that we still need to work through. Is this about the resources? And I think that's what the challenge is. And this is not FBAs versus anybody else. This is not Black Americans against anybody else. But I will say this, and I'll end here. If you're against us, if you're from anywhere in the earth and you're showing up to reparations conversations and saying we don't deserve it, that's going to be an issue. You're going to see the warriors come out of us. And I'll land there.
All right. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it, Brother Brandon. So I want to say this before we continue. So I know it all said, go back to your homeland and build it up, right? And, that's that mindset that Minister Teo was talking about, that they're trying to make Babylon theirs, that this is theirs. You know what I'm saying? And so we don't think that way. We believe this is the land of our captivity. We don't look at this as our home. But a lot of foundational Black Americans, I'm not saying they all obviously do. And see, the days are coming when people like Mr. Know-It-All, when he got to run for his life, like the scripture says, and he tried to go somewhere else, like Jamaica and Haiti, they're gonna say, keep your butt there, build up your own town, right? They're gonna throw it right back in his face. Final comments, Christopher.
Okay, so I just wanted to reiterate that when I say I'm FBA, and I'm leaning towards maybe not calling myself that, but when I was saying that, I was referring to being a descendant of the people that were enslaved, the ancient Israelites that were brought over here to the land of our captivity. And we built this, our ancestors, through trial, through error, through unmanageable horror, built this nation up. If it wasn't for our ancestors, this country would be nothing but a mud hole. So having said that, I can't wait to get out of here. I can't wait to meet you all in the second Exodus in the wilderness with all 12 tribes, the two sticks coming back together. And I'm open to have wonderful relationships with other nations once we are formed as a nation ourselves, so we can meet as people and not as serfdoms or not as sojourners, because we're done with that. Okay, so delineation it came from that standpoint. but no hate to no other nations. They're going to come here. Don't want to see anyone get sent to some weird behind backwards concentration camp. I would
Concentration
never.
camp, yeah.
Yeah, I would never do that. That's ridiculous. I mean, even if I was a diehard quote unquote MAGA, as people would say, if I'm the follower of the way, if I have love in my heart, I have Hamashiach dwelling in me in the indwelling spirit. Why would I want to even utter those words out my mouth?
Thank you.
Okay, so having said that, shalom, shalom to all the brethren and to the sisters.
Thank you, Brother Christopher. Appreciate it. Brother Rojo, final comment?
Hey, thank you again, Yakoba. And what I want to say is, and I say this with love to those within the diaspora that come over here, but please come over here with respect, because our lineage have put too much blood, sweat, and tears into trying to make this place viable for us to just survive at. I mean, you know, you have the Devil's Punch Bowl alone, and let's not even talk about Red Summer and all of those other things that we alone had to go through. Did no one with, you know, in the diaspora go through that with us? In fact, we fought to get them over here with us in the 60s. I mean, you know, to hopefully have some kind of conglomeration, which, you know, fell through. And I just want to touch on something real quick before I do check out, Yakoba, that will hit close to home for you, for both you twins, the Essence Festival. Now, you know, that had been in NOLA for the past, 40 years?
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, that thing has just become so, pardon the word, bastardized by people that's not of the lineage, where did you hear about what happened over there with the whole Jollof versus Jambalaya thing? When the Essence Festival was never about that. It was about celebrating foundational freedom and greatness. And
you're right. I mean, that is really FBA culture, right? That's what Essence was, right? But here's the thing: what our people don't realize, because once again, the oppressor has passed, has bought up companies and changed the rules, right? Just like gentrification in our cities, they taking over our cities, they're taking over all our cultural haunts, right? Like Essence, and they're trying to put us against the African, they're trying to put us against the people from the islands, right? From the Caribbean, they're trying to, and look, here's the thing. They put them in these places, like, for instance, the head of the Essence now is an African woman from Kenya. They put them in places right here to change the environment and the tone of what was foundational Black America. But here's the thing: it's not their fault. What they did, they took a position, they took a job, and they're taking orders from the ones who hired them. And the white man, once again, is the one that's telling them what to do and how to do it, right? To remove what, if you notice, as I've been saying, they're trying to remove any resemblance of foundational Black Americans, right? Those who are descendants of slaves, and our history here and our culture, right? And that's why they're wiping it out of the history books. They don't plan on us being here, but it's a dilution of it, and they're going to replace us with this multiracial, multi-ethnic view of the transatlantic slave trade, which is not the individual's fault who comes from Haiti or who comes from Africa or who comes from Jamaica. It's not their fault, because guess what? They're coming for a better life. They're coming for a job, and they're pitting us against each other, just like they did during the transatlantic slave trade, when they had the Igbos fighting the Ashanti and the Ashanti fighting the Yoruba, and they putting each other in the slavery. It was the white man that did that. It was the missionaries, and they're doing the same thing today. And that's what I'm saying. We can't fall into this. We can't let them divide us anymore. But go ahead, Brother Rojo, finish it. That's all you got, Brother Rojo? All right, thank you for coming on, Brother Rojo. Appreciate it.
Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, my speaker was really going funny on me. Sorry about that. No, I'm almost at the end. What I was going to add to that is that I think, and it's just my opinion, and you both could correct me if I'm wrong. I think when the Most High said that if it wasn't for the days being shortened, no flesh would be saved, I think he's talking about us over here in America, only because there had been such a very strong jihad since the turn of the last century, the 20th century. So I'm talking about 1900 and on into the day to wipe us completely out, like to completely rub us out and erase us. And I think if it wasn't for the Most High sending his angels, or even sticking his hand in the pot himself to kind of stir things up. I mean, I'm 53. I probably wouldn't even been born, and I think I'm a little bit older than you and your brother, so y'all wouldn't have been born either. If the Wahisis, these devils, Esau would have had their way. And I go ahead and land there, brother. Shalom.
All right, thank you, brother Rojo, for coming on. Minister Rick, final comment.
My final comment is this. Remember, it is his kingdom come. His will be done. The things, we could not stop any of the prophecies that were against our rebellion. They absolutely happened and came forth. No one will be able to stop the prophecies of Babylon's destruction. That's absolutely going to happen. And anybody coming over here betting on Babylon on the come up here is making a fool's bargain. If everybody ought to be about two things, gathering our people together, bringing the two sticks together, and building up the continent to prepare for the Exodus and preparing for the exit from these places here. Now, we are not Americans. Americans, we are still the same people that were enslaved, and these little petty differences are going to be out of the way. So, what we need to do as people who have power on the internet and a mic and a pulpit, so to speak, is to keep on hammering on the biblical prophecies and the biblical law that has been fulfilled, and that's what's happening now. Because whether all these petty arguments don't mean a thing from this standpoint, the Ruach HaKodesh is working on our people. You realize that all through all these crazy disparate arguing groups and things like that, the Ruach HaKodesh told us to, hey, just don't get involved in any of this stuff going on, just stand down. And it's almost universally across the whole thing. We disappeared from the Make Babylon Great Again, the demonstration. I mean, we were gone. So there's a level that God deals on that doesn't, that our flesh and our little desires are going to happen. Ultimately, the choice we will have is the choice we have of our various suggestions. Who is the Savior? Are you going to receive the Savior and become a part of this Israelite community through which salvation the whole world came from? Or are you going to back the other team and go to hell? That's going to be the thing that you can decide. These other things, so it is written, and so it will be done. So I'll land my plane right there.
All right, thank you for coming in, Minister Rick. Minister Tate.
Yeah, I like to say, I guess the difference between me and some of y'all, not all of y'all, is that I know our history very well, and I don't forget it. And when I know the history of what you did to my ancestors, I feel like you did it to me. So I can't forget it, because if you did do it to me, I'm not going to forget. Right? So I know who you are. I know who they are. Right? So I don't want nothing they own. I don't want nothing they created off of my back. Right? I mean, I'm not saying they don't owe us reparations. That's different. But to want to have a piece of land that was saturated in the blood of our ancestors makes no sense to me. Right. And all I can conclude is that the people that want to do that, they don't believe in the Most High. They don't believe we Israel. They don't believe in the Bible, because otherwise they wouldn't feel that way. Right. So, I'm one of those guys. I mean, it's been 400 years and I take it personal. And I tell my ancestors, I say, I'm not going to forget till you get vengeance. That's how I feel. That's just how I see it. Some of y'all don't. Some of y'all like, I love Babylon. Things are so great. And I'm like, Most High, when you going to come here and finish up business? Right? We did our time. When you coming? And I'm like, I know he coming now. So I'm like, when people have a different mindset concerning what the Most High promised, I'm like, you not one of us. You not one of us. You don't even care what happened to your ancestors. You're living off the blood of your ancestors. You're living off the bodies of your ancestors. You become a co-conspirator because you embrace Babylon. This is how I feel. That's why I get so emotional about this issue. Y'all know I keep it cool most of the time, right? But one thing I can't let go is what happened to my ancestors and what happened to y'all and your ancestors. We not finished. We dealing with this stuff every day. Our brothers we finding our brothers hanging from trees in South Carolina. And nobody want to say nothing. Nobody care. I care. You know our brothers don't commit suicide, but guess what? The coroner said he did. No investigation here.
And hung himself from a tree.
He hung himself from a tree and tied his own hand behind his back. Or the twins who, you know what happened to them, right? They were deleted. Oh, it was a brother taking out a brother and he suicided himself. No. We already know what happened, but nobody seems to care enough to say this nation needs to be judged for all the evil they have done to our people. That's just how my heart is. I want justice. And a lot of y'all don't care about justice. My soul hurt for what happened to my ancestors. And the more I look at the history, I can't get over what they've done. I can't even imagine the stuff they've done with, but it's written down, documented. And I'm like, are these people even human? When you look at what they've done, I'm like the same people in power. I'm different. I'm different. I'm not mad at y'all. I'm just different. I want justice. A lot of y'all don't want justice. Y'all want to join Satan because Satan got the money and the power. You could keep it. You could keep it. Because the Most High say all of them on that side, you go over there. All those on the Most High side come over here. And I'm going on the Most High side because he said he getting justice. And he's told you he getting justice on Babylon, Mystery Babylon the Great. The ones who took your ancestors into captivity and the ones who hold you today in captivity, whether you know it or not. You might not acknowledge you in captivity, but you don't run this government. You don't run no big corporations. You don't make decisions about nothing that go on here. And they grab you when you don't pay your taxes. They grab you and beat you up when they pull you over for traffic violation. And you like, what? All I was doing was citing the rights that the law say you can't search without cause. You can't arrest me and stop me for a traffic violation when I didn't go over the speed limit. None of that matters. And when you try to stand up for your legal rights, you get deleted. Y'all not seeing this. See, this is the kind of stuff it don't get out of my head. Our people in danger. That's all I gotta say, Minister Cool.
All right, thank you, Mr. Terry. Well said. So what I'm gonna say is this. You know, y'all already know Yakoba is emotional. So when someone comes in and they say they're gonna call ICE on one of our brethren, on a Haitian, on the Caribbean, on the Virgin Islands, on Jamaicans, or whatever, African, you didn't make me mad. You gonna do this. You say you a pan mulatto, so you can't even say you a pan Africanist because you hate Africans so much. You say you pan mulatto. What the heck is that? And so then you have a person who claims to be a FBA, Foundation of Black American, saying he gonna call ICE on other people who are descendants of slaves who just had a different stop. The same people who, as his ancestors, their ancestors were enslaved, hung from trees, deleted, put in the fields to work day and night, wives raped, children taken from them. They had to deal with the same thing. And you're going to tell me because they are Haitian here illegally or they're Jamaican here illegally, or they're from the islands, Virgin Islands, here illegally, that you're gonna call ICE on them. And now I'm not supposed to be upset with that. Personally, I'm the type of person, because y'all know Yacoba used to fight. I'm too old to fight now. But in the old days, I'd have to handle business with that person. That is some evil stuff. And it's sort of like what Minister Teyu said. A lot of our people don't speak up against injustice. We don't. We don't let our voices be heard. And then we got people like Tariq Nasheed who want to separate us from the continent, right? Let's not even talk about the guy who was on the Shonda show. They want to keep us separated, but as we watch these judgments come, as we watch Trump's plan, as we watch the birthright citizenships, as we watch the big, beautiful bill, and we see all of these things that are targeting us. If you don't see that as targeting us, I feel sorry for you. As you plan to build your life here in a failed state, as you plan to build your life with a weakening dollar, you're trying to put your own people, even though you probably don't see them that way because you're FBA. And I'm not talking about all FBA, obviously now. But you want to call in ICE on them. I can't have that. I can't have that. I'm not going to have that. I have no respect for people like that. And I'm going to call it out. I'm going to call it out. And then those who want to build your life in Babylon, I don't have a problem with that. Go ahead. Do you? Just understand that your time here is short. Whether or not you're about to go to be with the Most High in heaven, and we're going to talk about that at another time, or you're going to live here on earth somewhere else. Because understand, based upon what's happening right now, you trying to, most people are in that, the normalcy bias. Let me go buy my house. Let me go buy my new car. Oh, you know what? Let me get my Mercedes, right? Let me go on that vacation. I ain't saying not to do those things. I'm just saying that right now, all these things are these pillars are falling that keeps America running. And you about to suffer like you ain't never suffered before. And that's why the scripture says, as soon as Israel suffered, she was delivered. As soon as she travailed, she was delivered. We're there, in my opinion. We're there. We're 2 steps away, in my opinion, whatever that looks like. And so right now, you got to understand, when y'all talk about turning our people in, you didn't trigger something in me and Minister Teyu. Right? Because we love our people. Our people have been persecuted, lied on, said we monkeys, hung us from trees, fed us to alligators, made clothes out of us. And you can go on and on to the break of dawn. And y'all want us to be calm and passive about that? And the same thing didn't just happen to us here. It happened to those in Haiti. It happened to those in Jamaica. It happened to those in the islands. It happened to those on the continent. Somebody got to love us, because guess what? A lot of us don't love us. Y'all know that, right? Y'all do know that, right? We are the most destroyed people on the history of this world, the planet. Been enslaved really for longer than 400 years. We just been enslaved in the Americas for 400 years, but we've been enslaved for almost 2,000 years. I hope y'all know that. And there's very few people What does the scripture say? It says that your shepherds don't even care. Is that not what the scriptures say? Your shepherds don't even care. That is a sad state of affairs. Because here's the deal. Them folks, they care about them. They care whether or not they're on top. They care whether or not they have health care. They care whether or not they got enough to eat. They care whether or not they're being persecuted. They say never forget. But we don't care. We don't even care enough to call out injustice. We don't care enough to support ministries that's trying to help our people. We don't care. We're broken. We're destroyed. We're dry bones. Ezekiel 37. We are such a sad state of affairs as a people. Everybody's more united than us, but it's the curses. And so long as we still stuck in the land of our captivity, them curses are still on us. Once we leave the land of our captivity, you're going to see more of them curses moving off of us. That's just the way it is. I've come to settle within me that those who are going to unite is going to be that remnant, right? The ones the Most High has called set apart, the ones who love with the love of the Messiah, who wants to help their people and help uplift them and wish the best for them, whether or not they're from Haiti, whether or not they're from Trinidad and Tobago, whatever. Is those people who have a heart for all of Israel or Esra'Elawi. That's who's going to unite. It's not going to be all Israel. Israel as a nation is messed up. It's going to be the remnant. That's what I've come to realize. And so that's why, it ain't even really worth fighting anymore, because I've realized we are broken. We're destroyed. I get it now. I get it, right? We ain't going to never come together till the Most High does it. And it's not going to be all of us. I've come to that conclusion. It's not going to be all of us. But I'm going to say this. What you wish on others, don't be surprised you fall into that same pit that you wishing on other people. You hoping that the migrants get put in the concentration camp. Don't be surprised your house get put in the concentration camps. Don't be surprised. The Most High heard everything you did, everything you said. He watched you call up the popo on them folks, whether or not they be Mexicans, Hispanics, Haitians, whatever. The Most High didn't saw you call the popo on them. Don't be surprised when they come knocking on your door. And guess what? Ain't nobody gonna be crying for you. They're gonna say he got what he deserved. That's just the way it is, fam. Look, I don't know what to tell you. Me and Minister tell you always we're the ones who stand for the little guy, right? We always stand up against the bullies, right? You couldn't tell us what to do. They try to make us join the popular crowd. We said, we're not joining y'all. We don't like y'all. We don't like bullies. That's just the way we are. So maybe we come across a little passionate. Oh, well, he said this. Yacoba said that he should be nicer. Shouldn't we all get along? No, we all not going to get along, because the system is too good at causing division within us. The system is excellent at causing division. People aren't sophisticated enough to avoid the mind games. It's really that other word for the mind instead of mind games. Let's tell you know what I'm talking about. But that's what they do to us. And some people, they can't resist the lure. They can't resist the deception, because guess what? Because they selfish. They got their own agenda. They don't have a Yah agenda, because if they had a Yah agenda, they would definitely love their people. The Bible tells you that. And when the Bible tells you love your enemy, it's talking about the enemy that's when Esra'Elawi. That's what it's talking about. It ain't talking about the wicked. It ain't talking about the people who then enslaved y'all and hung y'all from trees, who want to delete y'all and kick y'all out of the country with the rest of the immigrants. Y'all do know that the ones that control the MAGA folks, the whole reason they voted for Trump was to push everybody who not white out of the country. You do know this, right? Y'all do know this, right? You think because you are a citizen of the United States, you got some kind of protection. No, you the target. If you don't have the complexion for the protection, guess what? They plan on kicking you out of here. And you are dumber than a doorknob if you think that you're safe. That's all I got, fam. Love y'all with the love of Messiah. If y'all want to support us, you can by becoming a patron. You can. You can also give Cash App $TOTW7101, $TOTW7101. You could go to tailministries.com donations tab and also give, right? So Minister Taylor and I had to come and speak on this, because, that was just unacceptable what that guy said. And he was arrogant about it, and it really ticked us off, right? So you can also support it by giving a like, share, and subscribe. If you haven't liked, please like. And, because, YouTube be messing with us bad. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm saying. They be messing with us bad. But, hey, it is what it is. So, all right, fam. Love y'all. And please purchase Mr. Taylor's book. They always knew we was Israelites. And you can also purchase my book, True Jerusalem, the Lost Kingdom of the Israelite. Well, family, the wait is over. The moment has arrived where truth emerges triumphant from the shadows of history. Introducing the True Jerusalem, the Lost Kingdoms of the Israelites. The groundbreaking work by me, Yacob Vale. A journey into the past that reshapes the future. I cut through centuries of misconceptions with piercing clarity. This book delivers a compelling case packed with evidence that commands attention and gonna get some respect. Come with me for a second, family, and discover how these thrilling civilizations flourished, protected by towering highlands and sustained by advanced engineering. Some have asked, where is Jerusalem? Is it the land in the Middle East? I say no. It is in the highlands of Ethiopia. With hours of groundbreaking research, this book brings in a new revelation, and it will transform your understanding of African history and its connections to the ancient world. It's going to remove from your mind the conditioning by the Romans of what has really happened to our past. Come with me, family, to the Ethiopian highlands and find out why this is our land. Why things have been hidden and obfuscated for centuries. We are royalty, children of the Most High. What kind of land do you expect us to have? Dried up dirt in the Middle East, or land flowing with rivers? A land full of beautiful animals flowing with milk and honey. Don't miss out on this monumental unveiling. Grab your copy today and stand on the side of truth. Visit Amazon.com or www.tailministries.com to purchase your book and join Yacob Vale's teachings on Tail Ministries. Family, your journey to a hidden history has now begun. So family, get your copy of True Jerusalem, the Lost Kingdoms of the Israelites today. Journey to the heart of Africa, where history and legend converge to reveal the forgotten kingdoms of the Israelites and the true location of Jerusalem.